I occasionally forget when that song just so abruptly ends, and I refuse to look at the time code on the track there. Welcome to the stream. It's your favorite Higurashi's faceless reader. I hope. I beg. If I'm not, don't tell me I'm not. I'm willing to accept that I might not be your favorite faceless Higurashi reader. I'm willing to accept it, but just don't tell me to my face. Don't tell it to my face, I mean. I am very fragile. And the last thing you should want to do is hurt my feelings. On a Tuesday, especially? Ugh, disgusting. Would never even think of hurting someone's feelings on a Tuesday. Mind your ears as we load this up. Where is it? There it is. I saw it pop up on the OBS feed before I saw the window for the actual game. Strange. I want to hear a little bit of drumming real quick, just to feel something. Okay. I didn't want to watch too much, but dun 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 dun. I don't know. I slightly, if you can't already tell, slightly punchy mood here apparently tonight. Vibes are not good, not bad, just different. I'm coordinating a couple things in life that I'm not normally coordinating, and so it's requiring not only the diversion of energy, but also mental capacity. I always talk about how like I feel as if my brain constantly feels like it's moving at like 1,000 miles per hour, and then I just kind of have to like try to channel it as best I can. It doesn't end up usually working out well, but I divert it, and then, you know, it's thinking about a lot of things at once. But now I have to actually focus on one thing, social life wise, and yeah, you know, you just you're like, am I gonna, not to get obviously too much into it because it's not about Higurashi or anything, but I'm like, am I gonna mess it up? Am I gonna like, am I gonna I'm gonna ask a funny question, especially for people that know me, but like, am I going to overthink the situation? The answer is almost always yes. Could be about anything, and I'm going to overthink it to death. But yeah, now that's like a thing. It's like a task out there in the distant future, not super far future. But because I'm like, now it's there, now it's like potentially on the calendar, you know? Then the brain, a part of it, a compartment of the brain is always going to be stressing out and thinking about that. Even as I'm reading from the perspective of Rika. That's the segue. It's some sort of segue. Yeah, so welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a great week. 2 days in. Yeah, let's do this short recap here because we only got, you know, the beginning of here, chapter 7. We got the chapter I was theorizing it was going to be. I mean, I don't want to give myself too much credit. I don't want to pat myself on the back too much. I feel like I picked the obvious thing, but like it is a Rika, from the perspective of Rika chapter, Rika focus chapter, and we are potentially starting to see what needs to be seen before we would have a final chapter 8 chapter, if that makes sense. So again, we didn't get too far, but we're from Rika's perspective. We're formally introduced to the character Hanyu, which is the, seemingly, I don't think she's bad, but she's got the, she is the slightly annoying foil to Rika, who wants Rika. She's got a great attitude, Hanyu, about her, right? But she also, after probably many attempts and her seeing the strain, both physically, potentially, mentally, and emotionally, seeing Rika repeat cycles. Doesn't want Rika to get too invested in trying to change a thing that Hanyu might be expecting is unable to be changed. I think it was also mentioned that whatever weird thing Rika occupies, whatever weird space she occupies as like this being that keeps going back, trying to change course of fate somehow. Hanyu seems I think there was a line in there that said that Hanyu was the one who had the actual ability and power to reset the timeline, so much so that she was using it so much that it was having diminishing returns and effects, to the point where this cycle we're on currently apparently could only go back 2 weeks. So it made mention that it was probably in past cycles a much more stronger and potent effect. It was able to go back further in time. So we're given essentially a deadline, right? It is essentially said that Hanyu's ability to reset, go back, is diminishing and weakening so much that if they don't get their act together soon and figure out how to solve this, it's not going to be doable. Protect Rika, smile. Dude, protect Rika. Like the title of the stream suggests, this always has been and will be the Rika Respect Zone. So yeah, we also got a small glimpse, although is kind of still nebulous, about exactly what outcome Rika wants to achieve by resetting. If we're, again, nebulously, Rika, her mission, it's simple. She just wants to spend time with her friends and have a good time. And you can take that, obviously, a bunch of different paths. You could say, like, well, what does that entail? Obviously, a lot less death is probably on the menu for that to succeed from a lot of characters. And again, we're starting to see exactly how she's going to do it. We kind of basically in that first stream of this chapter a couple days ago, we went back to the scene where it was the club activity we saw in a previous chapter, where they split up, play a board game, whatever. And essentially, Rika, the facade that one of the most interesting aspects was the defeated. She is over and over seeing the same things over and over again. She cannot, like, even physically or emotionally act invested in what's happening. Her mind is slipping. She's less able to pay attention to people. She's not remembering exactly what her surprised attitudes were, because she's like physically cannot, which is interesting, like an interesting aspect, I think. She can't react with surprise. It's not like she's seeing these things for the first time. The most apt example we saw was when Rena was talking with her in the game shop or whatever, it's toy shop, whatever. And Rena kind of catches her slipping, but obviously Rena has no idea what's going on. Unless... No, I'm joking. Unless... But... she recovers. Rika recovers. And yeah, she's like almost already self-defeated. She's got Hanyu, who's cheery and happy, but is like constantly reminding her, hey, don't worry if things don't change. And then Rika is basically hoping that from last chapter, the glimmer of hope was that Akechi, she noticed in the last chapter that Akechi had the ability, just like her, in a much lesser scale, able to realize a bad thing he did in a previous cycle. And she's like, if that's able to happen, maybe we can do that again here, and maybe we can change the course of the events. So she's constantly asking him, and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. But basically, through her self-defeatedness, she's like, I already know what's going to happen. She started to do exactly what I asked her to do. I was like, if you're so defeated, might as well just throw the spaghetti at the wall, see if it sticks. and just be like, hey, I'm a time traveler. And she basically did that without saying she was a time traveler. And she was like, I already know you're going to do this. We're going to be split like this. You're going to pick this. Your group is going to pick this game. I'm going to be set to play the fucking fishing game. I have to act like I'm excited about fishing with a bunch of children. I'm so old. My name is Rika. I don't belong here. Nipa. And she's like, and then my most important line, I think I personally said, if I was to grade things I said, if I was to rate myself, I think the most important thing was, after hearing this, Ketchi's like, the perfect combination of stubbornness and stupidity, where he is like, no, you know what? You said we're going to do this. Just like our club motto is to always try and win, I'm going to defeat this claim of fate that you're saying, and I'm going to somehow turn the tables. And we're not going to play the game, even though it was chosen for us by the old man in the back or whatever, trying to pawn the game of life on us. He's like, no, return it. He made up some story, I believe, that he had already played that game. He already knows the rules, whatever. Return it. Let's be on fair ground. And Rika's like, masterful gambit, Ketchi. She's like, this is amazing. What a play. All I had to do was tell him that it was going to go like this. And he's so stubborn, he made it not like that. In his own special way. Again, I don't think I said at the time, but now I'm realizing as I'm recapping, it makes perfect sense with the ethos of the group, of the club, is to win at any cost. And I know I'm kind of squinting and fudging that a little, but it's the same kind of mentality. It's let's not just give up. Let's look for a solution, even if it's kind of janky, to our problem and try to win, right? So then, the last important thing of that stream was that they get their little doll prizes. We see the scene play out almost up to how we saw it in a previous chapter. Mion doesn't get a doll. She has to act like she didn't want one in the first place because she's the tough leader. She's the very tomboyish, oh, dolls are stupid and girly and feminine anyway. I don't want it. This old man doesn't want it. And she doesn't get one because I forget what the reason was. Is she's related to the guy in the shop. He maybe didn't think she wanted it. I don't know what it was. She doesn't get one. Ketchi, he doesn't really need his doll. But it's noted that it's a very adorable, cutesy doll. And then the game gives us a choice. Ultimately, no matter what we pick, what ends up happening. Our canon playthrough is that we let Ketchi do whatever he was going to do, and by himself, he gives the doll to Mion. Bam. Massive. Is this enough? Is this enough of a snowball to, again, change the course? Now it feels like this chapter, potentially, at least for a bit, is, are we going to go through the different moments where bad things happened? And are we going to change? Are we going to see change? Is Rika passively going to see the change? Because Rika could potentially try to sway it, but maybe that's what Rika needs to learn. And maybe this is what her whole thing is. Maybe she's been going through these cycles and she's been like, how can I change it? Or how can I... And then she doesn't see change quickly and she gives up. That defeatist attitude, right? But maybe, just maybe in this cycle, she sees everyone else around her change things for the better. Ketchi giving the doll to Mion. Shion, I don't know, maybe not getting upset about Satoshi. Oishi doesn't bring someone into his very well air-conditioned car. Takano stops being a bitch. No, I'm joking. But really. Unless. And that's basically the recap. That was a good recap. Honestly, again, if I'm to grade myself, I think a solid recap. I've been slacking in my recaps for a bit, I feel. And I know. I know people love the recaps. So it's Tuesday stream, so let's just read one little section of Higurashi. Sorry, I was distracted by something. What else is new? Something in my throat. Jesus. Here we go. Okay, she says what?
確かにそんなことをどこかで聞いたような気もしたが、それってマジだったのか?
I know I've heard some people mention it before, but they were serious about that? This world always has a lot of nice suggestions, but they're mostly out of politeness, right? They're just something you laugh off and reply with, that would be nice. But those ideas generally end as jokes, so it's crazy when they turn real.
マジも大マジ。
Yeah, I'm serious.
吉郎おじさんも大絶賛。
Uncle Yoshiro was giving you a ton of praise too.
昨日のおもちゃ屋での部活、ゲーム中の暴れっぷりは実に見事だったからね。
He said it was amazing how well that pop-up pirate game went in this toy store yesterday.
レナもあんな遊び方や盛り上がり方があるなんて知らなかったかな
I had no idea. No idea you could play the game like that.
ここだけの話ですけど、私の近くにいた子たち、ケイチさんと同じ宅で盛り上がりたかったって悔しがってましたのよ。
I should mention that some of the kids around my table wanted to play with you too. God, you really sold that pop-up pirate.
ケイチは何でも楽しそうに遊ぶことに関しては天才的なのです。
Keiichi is a genius when it comes to playing games. You know, I wasn't just playing around. I was giving it my all because I had no choice but to win. I guess we made it look like a lot of fun for the audience, though.
確かに、ケイちゃんは普段の部活においても、とにかくよく盛り上がってくれますからね。
You definitely have a blast no matter what club activity you're doing, Kei-chan.
監督も、ケイちゃんがひなみざわファイターズに入ってくれたら、さぞや盛り上がるだろうって言ってましたし。
Coach is saying that the Hinamizawa Fighters would be so happy if you joined the team.
言ってましたね。
Random Shion appears. I don't remember Shion in my school setting. Unless I'm just forgetting. That's very true.
ゆうべ、会合の席でも、入江先生、前原くんのことをベタ褒めでしたよ。
Dr. Iri had nothing but great things to say about you at the meeting last night, Maiberkun. Also, no one cares what you have to think or say, Chie. Get out of here. Get out of my
ケ
scene.
イチ君は自分で思ってるよりずっと人を楽しくさせる力があるんだよ。
You have the ability to bring people joy, and far more than you think you do.
そうかな。
You think so?
おじさんだって自分の仲間が可愛いからって推薦したわけじゃないよ。
This old man didn't mention your name just because you're his friend.
ケイちゃんならこの退任にきっと応えられるって思ったから推薦したわけさ。
He did it because he's confident you can do the job.
僕も同じ席にいましたですが、全然反対意見が出なかったのは驚きだったのです。
I was there at the meeting too, and no one was against the idea.
前原くんは先生が思っているよりもずっと村中で評判なんですね。
Maiberkun, you honestly do have a good reputation around the village.
沖宮界隈でも有名です。
I've heard good things about you in Okinomiya too.
先日のひなみざわファイターズと沖宮タイタンズの試合でのあの助っ人ぶりはもはや現地では伝説的ですからね。
What you did in the match between the Hinamizawa Fighters and the Okinomiya Titans was legendary. What have I loaded up into? Why is this just heap a ton of praise on Takechi? What am I reading?
あれはすごかったですものね。
Why are we buttering him up? It really was incredible.
亀田さん目当ての記者の方々も度肝を抜かれてましたよ。
The reporters are there to see Kameda-san, but they were more impressed by you. They're talking about that rigged baseball match I set up with Kameda-kun. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we remember. Yeah, this was a scene we had seen in the previous chapter. Yeah. The public did end up believing that talented pitcher walked me out of fear for my insight. Kameda-kun and I have entered a strange relationship since then, but I'd really rather not talk about it right now. Strange relationship, you say?
どうかな、ケイイチ君。
What do you think, Kechi-kun?
レナはケイイチ君にはその力があると思うな。
I think you can do it.
みーちゃんだけの推薦で足りないなら、レナも推薦するよ。
I'm backing you up too.
ケイイチ君ならきっと綿流し実行委員の退任を全うできる。
I definitely think you should be in charge of the Watanagashi Planning Committee. Watanagashi is an annual festival or village festival held in June. It's supposed to be the biggest event in the village, and most of the people living here gather together for it. Since this is a major event, I always organize a committee to plan out the festival a few months in advance. The festival is only 2 weeks away, and I just moved to this village. But now, they want me to join the committee. That committee? Question mark? That's how I
大
should
体よ、俺実行委員の仕事なんて知らないから何の役にも立てないぜ。
Look, first of all, I don't even know what you do in a committee.
実行委員なんて堅苦しいのは肩書きだけだよ。
You don't need to be too concerned about it.
ケイちゃんに満場一致でお願いしたい役はね、ズバリ叩き売りオークションの司会なんだよ。
The job we unanimously want you to fill is hosting the auction.
なんだよそれ。
What the hell?
バナナでも売らせ
Is
るの
that?
か？
I completely did not see the is that there. Do you want me to sell bananas or something? Yeah, Kechi. Sell bananas at the festival.
そこは先生から説明します。
Well, let me explain.
今年のお祭りでは新しい試みとしてオークション風に寄付品の叩き売りをやろうということになったのです。
We're holding an auction event for the first time this year. We're going to auction off donated items just to see how it turns out.
そこは複雑な事情があってね。
There's kind of a long story behind it.
町会で寄付品を集めて、それを商品にしてのみんなで参加できる何かをやりたいんだけど、
We wanted to do something in which everyone can participate using donated items as prizes.
過去の役員会でいろいろ大人の事情があって、福引き抽選以外の方法で商品を分配したいってことになったんだよ。
But the elder members decided to distribute the prizes using something other than a lottery, for their own reasons.
早い話が、昔ばあさんが癇癪を起こしときながら引っ込みがつかなくなったことがあるわけなんです。
To put it simply, our hag of a grandmother let her temper get to her, and wouldn't back down after that. Sorry, gotta clear my throat. I also like her little tie thing. I don't know why. It just stands out for some reason.
ばあさんって自分でトラブっときながらよく後悔してますよね。
But she didn't really consider any specifics.
まあね。
Yup.
まあそんなわけで福引き以外のイベントで何か楽しく商品を山分けできないかって話になったわけよ。
Anyway, we had to come up with how to utilize those donated items.
それで出た案が寄付品の叩き売りオークションってわけ。
At that point, we thought of doing an auction.
オークションってなんだか面白そうだね。
That sounds like fun.
ひょっとするとものすごく安くいいものが買えるかもしれないし、
You might be able to get something good for a really cheap price.
他の人が高値をつけ合うのを見てるのも楽しいしね。
It's fun just to watch the show, too.
しかも寄付品だから元手はタダ。
The items are all donated, so they were free, huh?
実行委員会もなかなかお金儲けがお上手ですわね。
That committee sure is good at making money.
売り上げは全部冬の町会温泉旅行の泡麦茶代になるのです。
The profit will be going into the beer fund for the village committee's winter getaway trip.
ずるいのです。
It's not fair.
フルデさんは泡の出る麦茶はまだまだいけません。
You're not ready for beer yet, Furude-san.
だいたい話は見えてきたが、
I think I understand what's going on now.
でもよ、俺はオークションの司会なんかやったことないぜ。
But still, I've never done anything like it before.
でも圭一くんならきっとやり遂げられると思うな。
I'm sure you can do it, Kechi-kun.
売り上げの1割はお小遣いになるとか言われたらものすごい頑張りそう。
I bet you'd do really well if they told you that you'd get to keep 10% of the profits.
まあな。
Well, yeah.
実績に応じて何か得られるってなら、そりゃ頑張るだろうな。
If I can gain something for producing results, then I'll do my best at it.
逆に実績が出なかったらとんでもない罰ゲームが待ってるかもしれませんでしたよ。
On the other hand, you might be facing a dreadful penalty game if you don't produce anything. Penalty game! Whenever I hear the term penalty game, I always think of like Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0 type shit. Specifically like the manga or whatever. Just Yami Yugi just fucking killing people in the penalty games.
ちょっと待て、佐藤。
Oh, wait a minute, Satsuko.
なんで俺がそんなリスキーな条件を引き受けなければならないんだ。
Why would I agree to a risky deal like that?
そもそも俺は依頼されてる立場だってことを忘れるなよ。
Don't forget, they're the ones asking for my help.
俺はこう見えてもスケジュール多忙で忙しいんだぜ。
I'm a very busy guy, you know.
そういうのはマネージャーを通してくれたまえ。
Try asking my agent first. Ha.
どうよケイちゃん。
Alright, Kichan.
もし何かご褒美がないといけないってんなら、内容と条件次第では考えてもいいよ。
If you want some kind of compensation, we can talk about it.
私もケイちゃんを推薦した以上、何としても引き受けてもらいたいと思ってるからね。
I really want you to be a part of this.
最大限配慮するよ。
We can make a deal.
ほう、
Hmm.
太っ腹じゃねえか。
That sounds interesting.
さーて、何がいいかね。
I wonder what I should ask for. Please don't say anything pervy. Please don't say anything pervy. Please don't say anything pervy.
罰ゲームを何にするかというのはよくあるけど、ご褒美は何がいいってのは初めてかもしれないね。
I was so ready for him to say something. I was so ready. I was like, he's gonna say it. He's gonna say something. He can't help himself. We're always talking about punishments, but it's our first time talking about a reward.
言われてみればそうですわね。
That's true.
私たちってつくづく過酷な状況で戦ってますのね。
We're always fighting for something, huh? Rena's right. The whole purpose of our club activities is to escape the punishments we come up with. Even if we win, we never get a prize or reward for it.
めったにない美味しい話に圭一が困っていますのです。
Keiji has no idea how to respond to something that sounds too good to be true. Yeah, that's what we call character growth.
み
Hopefully.
ーちゃんの方で何か提案できないの？
Big hopefully. Maybe Mi-chan can come up with a good idea.
何でもいいよって言われたらかえって思いつかないよね。
It's hard to decide on what you want, isn't it?
そうだね。
Let me see.
じゃあこんなとこでどう？
How about this?
エンジェルモートのデザートフェスタの入場券とか。
An admission ticket to Angel Mort's dessert fiesta. I almost said that weird. Dessert fiesta.
おねえ、ケチくさいこと言わないで、どーんと3年分くらいプレゼントしちゃえばいいじゃないですか。
We're verging close. We're careful, Icarus. We're getting close. Don't be too cheap, sis. Why don't you give him 3 years worth of admission?
あら、
Hey,
それは豪華ではございませんの。
that sounds like a deluxe reward to me.
確かデザートフェスタのチケットってものすごい購買率で闇取引もされてるんだろ。
I heard that some people pay lots of money for that ticket.
そんなの3年分なんて本当にいいのかよ。
Are you sure you can hook me up with 3 years worth of admission?
もちろん成功報酬だよ。
Of course I can.
盛り上げてくれないとダメだからね。
But you have to do a good job.
大丈夫だよ。
I'm sure he will.
圭一くんならきっと大盛り上がりになる。
With Ketchikun there, it's going to be heaps of fun.
それについては私も同感です。
I feel the same way.
というか、どんなめちゃくちゃな売り工場が飛び出すか、かなり楽しみです。
I'm really looking forward to the auction now. In between these lines, I literally was about to ask out loud. I was going to be like, so what is the point of what is happening here? Because against what I was saying at the start and what we saw at that, I thought we were going to go, I was like, oh, we're going to see the points where bad things happened and then the things not potentially happened, maybe? But then, is this going to be something as brute force and as simple as just like, oh, if Ketchy is busy during the festival, he doesn't have the opportunity to sneak into the off-limits area with Shion and Blonde Lady and Tomatake? You know what I mean? Is it something like that? Is that what... I mean, it seems kind of... what's the term I'm looking for? I said brute force earlier, because I couldn't think of a term. Simple? Simplistic? Something along those lines. Anyway. Shion says, I feel the same way. I'm really looking forward to the auction now.
たとえタコの入ってないたこ焼きであっても行列させてしまいそうですものね。
Yeah, you could probably get people to line up for takoyaki that doesn't even contain octopus. The other thing is, and I hate to, like, analyze the story on, like, a meta level, but just like how we saw in the first section on Saturday, I would assume we would have seen the inflection points where we see the possibility of something changing. If it was going to be built like that. It was like a last-minute change, almost, right? So it'd feel weird to, at the start of this section, already get leads that, like, he potentially might be too busy to then go sneak off. It would make a lot more sense if they were about to sneak off to get to the storage area, and then he tripped and broke his leg somehow, and then he couldn't go hang out at the storage area. So I'm just making up an example, but like something immediately like changed, right? But maybe I'm overthinking it too much. Going back to what I was saying at the start of the stream here. Overthinking everything.
おいおい、さすがにタコなしたこ焼きは無理だろ。
Hey, takoyaki without octopus. That's impossible.
いやいや、ケイちゃんなら見事売りかねないね。
No, I'm pretty sure you could do it.
うんうん。
Yeah.
小麦粉の味が素朴でヘルシーとか言いそう。
He'd probably say it was a healthier kind of takoyaki.
お前ら、俺をおだててるのかバカにしてるのか微妙だぞ。
Are you making fun of me or what?
どうですか、前原くん。
So what do you think, Myberkin?
先生もあなたならきっとうまく盛り上げてくれると思います。
I think you'll do a wonderful job. Chie-sensei was also on the committee. She must have backed up Mion's suggestion when she brought up my name at their last meeting.
僕も圭一の口先マジックが見たいのですよ。
I'd also love to see what kind of magic you can do.
ニパ
Nipa!
バナナの叩き売りだってさ、その売り工場の切符の良さに感服して買わせるわけだしね。
A good auction always depends on how good a speaker the host is.
ー。前原圭一ワンマンショーでございましたよ。
Sounds like it's going to be Kechi Mibera's big show.
楽しそうですわね。
It'll be so much fun just to watch.
おいおい、俺はまだ引き受けると言った覚えはないぞ。
Hey, I haven't even accepted the offer yet.
大丈夫だよ。圭一くんならできるよ。
Don't worry, Kechi-kun. You can do it.
ちぇ、レナめ。他人事だと思って気楽に言いやがって。
You're saying that because you don't have to.
はあ、そんなつもりじゃないのに。
How? That's not true. Principal suddenly opened his mouth.
どうかね、前原君。
Mibera-kun.
わしも君ならやれると思うぞ。
In my opinion, you'll do a fine job. He's basically being voluntold he needs to do this. Poor guy.
男なら一つみんなの期待に応えてみんかね。
As a man, isn't it your responsibility to meet people's expectations? If I had to, I'm sure I could do it. Mion has made me do so many different things to the club, and I've learned a lot from that. Oh, the pressures of being a guy. As a man, Keshi, you have to do as you're expected. Put in the child labor. You must. Mion has made me do so many different things to the club, and I've learned a lot from that. Besides, this would be the first time I could get a reward without having to worry about punishment. It should be fun too. This is the first time so many people were counting on me like this. To be honest, it made me pretty happy. Still, I was worried about getting dragged into something that required a lot of work. Couldn't erase that thought from my mind. But I was in Hinamizawa. The people in this village would never do anything to betray me. Yeah, that's a sentence. They genuinely believe that it would do a lot to liven up the festival if I became the host of their auction. I've only been here for a short period of time, but I know that the people here are honest and kind.
よっしゃ
Fine.
俺も男だぜ
As a man, I'm going to do it.
そこまで言われちゃ引き受けないわけにはいかないな
I'll take care of it.
見てろよ俺がやるからにはドカンと盛り上げてやるぜ
Wait and see. I'll make it the greatest auction in the world.
エンジェルモートのチケットを忘れるなよ3年どころか10年分くらい進呈したくなるくらいに盛り上げてやるぜ
Don't forget to get me that Angel Mort pass. I'll make sure to do a good enough job that I'll deserve 10 years worth of tickets.
よく言ってくれたケイちゃん
Good for you, Ki-chan. Everyone gave me a round of applause. How many times had this happened in my life? Not once. This was the first time I'd ever been applauded.
しかしよよく俺みたいな若造を推薦して町会の人が納得してくれたよな
By the way, I'm surprised that no one disagreed with this suggestion at the meeting. There were lots of old people in the village committee. I'm a young guy who only just moved here. I've known for a while that Mion had a lot of influence locally, but I couldn't believe that everyone in the committee would accept it just like that.
まあ基本的には頭の固い年寄り連中ばっかりですけどね
Most of them are that kind of hard-headed old people.
時代も徐々に変わり始めてるってことです
But the new generation is gradually taking over, you know? Oh, hit the wrong button.
ひなみ沢もダム戦争に打ち勝ってこれからは新しい時代を築きどんどん栄えさせていかなくちゃならない
We won the dam conflict, and now we're aiming to build a new era and grow more and more I almost said prosperous.
だから若者歓迎よそ者飛び入り大歓迎って風にどんどん意識改革をしていかなくちゃならないんだよ
That's why we value the involvement of young people and people from outside the village too.
圭一は若くてよそ者でしかも受けがいいのでまさにぴったりなのですよ
You're young, and you're from the city. You also have a good reputation, so you're the perfect guy for this.
受けがいいね
I have a good reputation, huh?
どうして俺の知名度がそんなに高いのか不思議でならねえぜ
I have no idea why so many people have heard of me. What are the chances that the class is just like fucking gassing him up just so they can get him to do this? I wouldn't say extremely high, but I would say it's definitely not zero. Yeah, Ketchy, everyone loves the idea of you and you hosting that auction. It's just like a job no one wants. And they're just like, yeah, you would be perfect for it. You're so charming and strong and cool. Yeah, great, do it. Do the job. Chie chimes in, yeah, do it. Do the thing.
多分みーちゃんの罰ゲームと密接な関係があると思うかな
It's something to do with Mi-chan's punishments, I think.
やっぱりそれか
I knew it! Hahaha.
じゃあこれで決まりですね
Alright then.
先生の方から今夜前原くんのご両親に電話でお話ししますので一応前原くんの方からもご両親にこの度の件を話しておいてください
I'll call your parents about it tonight, so please let them know when you get back home today, okay? I'm sure my parents will have no problem with it. They won't have any objections to raise, at least. They might ask me why my name was brought up, though. Shion-sensei and the principal went back to the teacher's office after the discussion ended. We were in the middle of lunch break at the moment. Shion-sensei and the principal had come along together, and Mion scared me by saying that they all had something to talk to me about. My stomach wasn't digesting my lunch particularly well.
灰原さん、聞いてましたよ。すごいじゃないですか。
Myra-san, I heard everything. Good for you.
町会から推薦を受けるなんてすごい名誉ですよ。
It's a big honor being chosen by the village committee.
おお、富田君に岡村君か。
Hey there, Tomita-kun and Akamura-kun.
そんな名誉なら君らに譲ってもいいぞ。
I'd love to give that honor to you.
無理ですよ。灰原さんじゃなくちゃ務まらないです。
No, thank you. I wouldn't be able to handle it. I realized the whole class was talking about me. They were saying how fun Nagashi was going to be and how high their expectations were for it. I might have taken on a huge responsibility. I needed to do my best to succeed at it. Man, if you're really slow, best to succeed. It's difficult. At it.
そうだそうだ、忘れてた。
By the way, I forgot something.
うちのバッチャがね、いっぱいおはぎを作ったんだよ。
My granny made tons of ohagi.
学校のみんなにも食べてもらえって持ってこさせられたんだっけ。
She told me to give them to my classmates. Mion clapped her hands as she remembered and took a box out of her bag. She opened the lid, letting us see a bunch of ohagi neatly packed inside.
あらあら、たくさん入っていますのね。
Wow, they really are a lot.
クラス全員に食べていただけそうなくらいありますわよ。
I think there might be enough for everyone in the class to have one.
は
Oh,
うかわいい、おいしそう。
they look so yummy and cute.
バッチャはおはぎを作るのが大好きなんですよ。どういうわけか。
For some reason, my granny loves making ohagi.
宗平が大好きだったのですよ。
That's because Sohei used to love them.
ああ、じっちゃが好きだったらしいね。
Ah, yeah. I heard my gramps used to like ohagi.
山盛り食べたらしいよ。
He ate tons of them.
じゃあみーちゃんのおばあちゃんにとってはおはぎは亡くなったおじいちゃんを思い出す大切なものなんだね。
For your grandma, ohagi is something that makes her remember your late grandpa, huh?
そうなの？
You think so?
じっちゃが好きなのって缶詰だと思ってました。
I thought Gramps liked canned food.
シオンは缶詰がダメなんだよね。
You don't like canned food, do you, Shion?
あ、
What?
そうなの？
Is that true?
どうして？
Why so?
缶詰臭と言いますか。
Well, it's because of the smell.
あの独特の鉄臭さがどうも苦手で。
I just don't like the smell of the metal. Honestly, I get it, Shion. I get it. I get it. I smell that metal? Kind of weird. I will not elaborate.
あら、
Oh, is that so?
人に嫌がるかぼちゃを無理やり食べさせて好き嫌いはいけないとか言ってる人が随分な話でございますのね。
After always forcing me to eat my squash, turns out that you too have something you can't eat?
ふふん、実はね。
To tell you the truth, she hates canned food because...
ちょっとね、
Come on, sis.
人が嫌がることを言うなんて最低ですよ。
Don't you dare tell anyone.
なんだかわからんが、ミオンが珍しく握ったシオンの弱みらしいな。
I don't know what's going on, but seems Mion knows a secret about Shion.
面白いから普段の恨みを晴らせ。
Tell it to us.
ほれほれ。
Go on. The reason why Shion doesn't like canned food must have been something pretty funny. The two sisters battled for a while. Apparently a murder took place. The machine gun knee kicks Mion launched from close quarters weren't bad, but I don't think she expected Shion to land a capture suplex off it. Guess Shion is the stronger of the two siblings.
お姉に言われるくらいなら自分で言います。
I'd rather tell you the truth that you have to hear it from my sis. Wait, I'd rather tell you the truth than have to hear it from my sis.
ですね、葛西っていうたちの悪い親父がいましてね。
See, there's this bad guy named Kasai.
そいつがですね、
He once told me,
純粋無垢だった幼い私にですね、
when I was still young and innocent,
缶詰の中にはたまに人間の肉が混じっているとか、とんでもないことを吹き込みやがったせいなんです。
that there's sometimes human meat mixed in with canned food. That is such a fucked up thing to say to a kid. Hey, that's like perfectly traumatize them about a certain thing of food. Yeah, sometimes there's human meat in there. Great.
都市伝説にたまにそういうのがあるね。
I've heard of an urban legend like that before.
あるある。
Me too.
俺たちのとこでも牛丼の肉は実は犬の肉だとか、ハンバーガーにはミミズの肉が混じってるとか聞いたことあるぜ。
I once heard that there's dog meat mixed into beef bowls and worms inside burgers.
そんな話がありますの？
Are you quite serious?
そんなの聞いてしまったら、もう牛丼もハンバーガーも食べられなくなりますわね。
I can never eat beef bowls or burgers again after hearing something like that.
そうなんですよ、さとこ。
You see, Satoko?
私はトラウマを負わされた犠牲者なんです。
It was a very traumatic thing for me.
同情はしますけど、かぼちゃフルコースの恨みと相殺するにはまだだいぶ足りませんわね。
You have my sympathy, but I still have yet to forget about how you made me eat a full course squash meal.
さとこは根に持ちすぎなのですよ。
You need to let go of that one.
僕は美味しくてペロリだったのです。
That meal was delicious.
なんだかよ、そんな話をしてるとさ、
Because we're talking about this.
このミオンのおはぎにも何か妙なものが混じってそうな気がしてくるよな。
I'm starting to get worried there might be something mixed in this ohagi too.
ほう。
Oh?
確かにこの私が持ってきたおはぎだもんね。
Well, at least with the ohagi that I brought.
中に何の細工もないってのは確かに不用心だよね。
You can't really be sure that there's nothing else inside. Ohagi that Mion brought. When you consider that, it's only natural to suspect that she probably did something to them. What's going on? I felt like I was forgetting something. But I didn't remember anything that I was forgetting. It was like one of those deja vu moments. I've never been in this situation, but my mind was telling me that I'd been there before.
どうしたのですか、ケイチ。
What's wrong, Keiichi?
いや、なんでもないよ。
Nothing.
前にもミオンにおはぎをもらったことがあったような気がしたんだけど。
I just feel like Mion has given me ohagi before.
これが初めてだよな。
But this is the first time, right?
そうなの？
Is it?
みーちゃん。
Mi-chan?
いや、これが初めてだと思うな。
I think this is the first time.
何かの勘違いじゃない？
You must be mistaking it for something else.
私の記憶でもミオンさんが学校におはぎを持ってきたのは今年はこれが初めてのはずでしたよ。
According to my memory, this is the first time Mion-san has brought ohagi to school.
ははん、わかった。
Ah, I know.
おじさんが持ってきたおはぎだもんだから何か罠があると思って警戒してるんでしょう。
You're being cautious because these are from this old man, aren't you?
そこは威張るとこじゃなくて日頃のお姉の底を反省すべきとこだと思いますけど。
That's nothing to brag about. I think you should be reflecting on your regular behavior.
そうだよな。
You're right.
同じおはぎでも レナとかが作ったおはぎなら絶対そんな風には思わない。
I wouldn't feel this way if Rina brought me ohagi.
レナっておはぎ作るの何気に上手なんだよな。
Rina's really good at cooking.
小さいけど丁寧で。
They're small, but very carefully made.
お
Huh?
レナ、おはぎなんて作ったことないよ。
I've never made ohagi before. What? What was I saying? Why did I say that Rina had made ohagi before? Why would I know that Rina makes her ohagi small but neatly? I had no idea where that memory was coming from. I can only assume it was an error in my brain. Mian was saying that this was her first time bringing ohagi to his class. As I tilted my head in confusion, everyone started reaching inside the box. Rina took out one for me and put it on the lid. I stared at it closely. What was I so concerned about? Mian said that I was probably concerned that she did something to the ohagi. But it wasn't quite that. I really hope I'm saying whatever that food item is correctly. Let's get I haven't done this in a while. Let's just get a good second screen experience real quick. Ohagi, Japanese sweet rice balls. Ooh, look at that picture. Ooh. You know, I shouldn't be... I'm not criticizing necessarily. It probably looks good. It probably tastes great. I'm just saying this is not the most appetizing of pictures. This makes it look a little nicer. This is a nice presentation here. Sweet sticky rice balls. Yeah, look at that. Huh. I got the wrong thing. My bad. A jump scare video. Oh, whoops. All right. I really didn't know how to explain it. I felt like I was forgetting something important. I've forgotten something important. And all I had was the obligation to remember it. In front of me was nothing but a single ohagi that came from Mion's house. I was frustrated, but I really couldn't think of anything. There's no way I could remember it. Because I didn't know anything.
ケイチ、さっきからおはぎをじっと見て、どうしましたのですか?
Keiichi, you've been staring at your ohagi for a long time. What's the matter?
いや、デジャブだっけ、既視感だっけ。
Oh, it's just... I'm experiencing deja vu.
ほら、たまにないか。
Don't you get it sometimes?
初めて見るものなのにさ、過去にすでに見ていたように感じるときって。
It's your first time seeing something, but you feel like you've seen it before.
ケイチは過去にもミオンにおはぎをもらったように感じるのですか?
So, you feel like Mion has given you a ohagi in the past?
でも気のせいだよな。
I'm sure it's just my imagination.
ミオン自身そんなことは覚えがないって言ってるしさ。
Mion just told me that she had never brought ohagi to school before.
ケイチ、
Keiichi?
ありもしない記憶なんてありませんです。
Oh, the whole... God, I forgot why I didn't want to just look at pictures of ohagi. I was gonna be... Back to the second screen experience real quick. Where is it?
Ohagi.
Ohagi. Alright, no, we're fine.
Ohagi.
Slow down?
Ohagi.
Okay, we're good. Just want to be sure. Ohagi. According to Google, at least. Keiichi, you can't have memories of what didn't happen. Alright.
もしケイチが覚えているのなら、それは本当にあったことなのですよ。
If you remember something, I'm sure it really happened before. I can't believe that in the span of the couple of seconds it took for me to open up a browser tab window and type in ohagi, I completely forgot why I meant to do it in the first place, which is the pronunciation thing. And instead, I typed into images to see just pictures of it, And then I was like, completely forgot that I was doing... Oh boy. Remember something? I'm sure it really happened before. Rika-chan told me something strange. I didn't usually take her random comments seriously, but ever since I saw her making those predictions in the toy store, I've been curious about her special powers. I felt like she was telling me something deep.
へへ、大予言のリカちゃまが言うと、なんだか不思議な感じがしてくるな。
It's weird to hear that from you, since you're so great at making predictions.
それってつまり、輪廻転生とかそういう話なんだろ？
Are you talking about the cycle of reincarnation or something?
僕は宗教のことはよくわかりませんです。
I don't know much about religion.
ただ、
Same.
僕が言いたいのは、圭一が知っていることなら、それはあったことなのです。
I just want to tell you that if you know about something, that's something that happened to you.
だからそれを思い出してほしい。
I want you to try and remember what happened.
気のせいだと片付けないで記憶としてほしい。
I don't want you to treat it like you're just mistaken.
僕が何を言っているのかわかりますですか？
Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I guess. I was a little surprised by how serious she sounded. I always thought that Rika was just an innocent girl who fooled around all the time saying things like meep and nipa. But all of a sudden she seemed like a totally different girl. Was I supposed to take it as a joke? The serious look on her face told me it wasn't the time for jokes though.
リカちゃんがそう言うなら、じゃあ俺は別の世界とかでミオにおはぎをもらったことがあるんだろうな。
If that's what you're telling me, then I guess I got Ohagi from Mion in a previous life.
バカにしませんから全部話してください。
I won't make fun of you, so please tell me everything.
どこでどうしてなぜミーにおはぎをもらうのですか？
Why did me give you that Ohagi?
いつどこでどうしてなんて具体的に聞かれれば聞かれるほどやっぱり妄想だったんだなって思っちゃうよ。
The more I think about it, the more I think it's just my imagination.
寝ぼけてみた夢なのかもしれないな。
Maybe it was just a dream.
夢でもいいのです。
I don't care if it was a dream.
もっと覚えてるはずなのです。
You must remember something.
話してください。
Please tell me. What was up with her? She seemed so curious about it. I didn't think the story was that interesting. Her asking so much started making me feel uncomfortable. Still, something told me that I needed to talk to Rika-chan about everything I could. Maybe she could predict my future by reading my dreams. I should tell her everything. After all, she's the shrine maiden for Oishiro-sama.
な。
Well,
俺は多分学校を休んだんだよ。
I think I skipped school that day.
風邪なんだと思う。
I had a cold or something. My memory is scattered all over my brain like powder. I could see myself standing in front of the door. Mion was there, and someone else was standing there too. I think it was Rina.
それでミオンのやつ、お見舞いのおはぎだって言って持ってくるんだよ。
Mion brought me Ohagi so I would get better.
今日言ってるのと同じで、おばあちゃんが作ったって言ってた気がする。
I think she told me that her grandma made it just like today.
それで
And then,
うん。
well,
それでそのおはぎを食べるんだよ。
then I ate that Ohagi
二人を返した後に。
after they went back home.
それでさ、おはぎの中から。
Then I found something inside the Ohagi.
ここから先は間違いない。漫画の受け売りだよ。
I'm sure I saw it in a comic book or something.
多分昔読んだ漫画のエピソードと記憶が混同してるんだ。
It's mixed up in my memory, but I'm sure I read it somewhere in some comic book.
そんなことがあるわけない。
Because it can't be true.
圭一話を続けるのです。
Kechi, tell me what happened.
おはぎを食べて中から
What did you find inside the Ohagi?
ああ、いや、俺が小学校の頃に読んだ怖い漫画にさ、ハンバーグの中に裁縫針が混ぜられているっていう話があったんだよ。
Well, I read the scary comic book when I was little, and there was a sewing needle inside of somebody's burger.
シオンもさっき言ってたろ？
You remember what Shion was saying just now?
小さい頃に怖がらされると、 トラウマになって残るっていうやつだよ。
It can be traumatic to hear a story like that when you're young. I didn't remember much about that comic. I think it was about this girl who had an accident and held a grudge against the person who caused the injury on her face. It was a really cheap plot now that I think about it. But since I was still a little kid, that comic really scared me. In one chapter, the girl casts a curse on the guy's food. He eats a burger with sewing needles inside it, and he goes all, yeah, something like that. It still freaked me out. The image was so grotesque and shocking to me. That grew into a kind of trauma, and for a while I searched for sewing needles in my food every time I ate something. I couldn't eat burgers for a while for that reason, but my parents got concerned and my hunger overcame the trauma. Eventually, that experience disappeared into the flow of time.
今でもさ、ちょっとでも怪しいシチュエーションがあると針が混じってるかもしれないなって考えちゃうんだよ。
I'm still a little worried about sewing needles every once in a while.
もちろんちょっと考えるだけだぜ。
I don't think about it all the time, of course.
みんなの弁当をつっつくとき、いちいち中身を改めてたら失礼だもんな。
It'd be pretty rude if I poked at my food while eating lunch with you guys, wouldn't it?
針を混ぜるなんて危ないいたずらなんて絶対するわけがないって思うから、そんなくだらないトラウマなんか気にしないで食べてるんだよ。
Of course I know that no one would actually put a sewing needle inside of my food.
でも今でもちょっと怖いのですね。
But you're still a little scared?
未だに忘れられないってことは、今でも心の中にはちょっと残ってるのかもな。
Well, maybe I am somewhere inside my heart.
ではそのミーのおはぎからは出てきたのですね。
So, you saw a sewing needle inside the ohagi that me gave you.
裁縫針が
You saw a sewing needle inside of one.
あ
Yeah,
あ、出てきた。
I did. Inside that ohagi, there was a needle, just as I feared. Why was I telling her about something that was just my imagination? Mion and Rina came to see me when I took a day off from school while I was sick. That never happened, so obviously my brain was just making it up. But I spoke to Rika-chan, because she said she wouldn't make fun of me.
圭一は目の前にあるこのおはぎにも針が混じっているように感じて怖いですか？
Are you afraid of this ohagi now? Do you feel like there might be a needle inside?
だからさっきから手をつけられない。
Is that why you're not eating it? I realized that Mion and Rina were also looking at me. They were wondering why I was staring at the ohagi without eating it.
あ、ケイちゃん、おはぎ嫌いだった？
Oh, you don't like ohagi, Ki-chan?
嫌いだったなら無理しなくても。
If you don't have to eat it. Mion was assuming that I didn't like ohagi. She felt bad for forcing me to eat something I didn't like. In turn, I felt guilty seeing the sad expression on her face.
お姉のおはぎなんで、中に何か妙なものが仕込まれてるって疑ってるんですよ。
Sis, he must be convinced that you put something in it. I immediately denied Shion's remark. No one else would understand what I'm saying. Even I didn't know.
いや、はっきり断言できるぜ。ここにあるミオンのおはぎには針なんて絶対に入っていねえ。
No, I know for sure that there's no sewing needle inside this ohagi.
針？
A sewing needle?
そんなのなんでおじさんが入れるわけ？
Why would this old man put something like that in there?
当たり前だよな。
Of course you wouldn't.
ミオンは確かにおとなしくお見舞いを持ってくるようなやつじゃない。
You're not the type to visit and bring something with you out of pure generosity.
タバスコを入れるとか、そういう冗談はやるかもしれないが、間違っても針なんて混ぜない。
You might play a trick with Tabasco sauce or something, but you never put needles inside.
シャレになることとならないことのけじめははっきりつけてる。
You never do something as dangerous as that.
だからそんなことは絶対にありえない。
I know you would never do such a thing. I grabbed the ohagi with my hand. As I brought it in front of my mouth, I felt the need to check it, just in case. But I told myself clearly, "Hey, you wimp. When are you going to stop being scared of that stupid comic book?" Mion brought these ohagi to treat everyone in the class. There's no way she'd put needles inside of these. I forced that stupid memory out of my brain and munched on the ohagi. God, seeing this, like, realize now this is the second time, technically maybe third if you want to stretch it, that we're seeing the forced, like, hey, he's changing and correcting his actions to potentially prevent bad things from happening. I was like, man, what moments in my life would, like, be, like, the deflection points of, like, these important moments where, again, I didn't ever go down the path of, like, murdering people, at least that I'll commit to saying on stream or anything. I'm joking. No, I haven't murdered anyone. But like, I haven't done something as bad as that, or tortured people, or whatever the case is. But just like, if you think back in your life and you're like, damn, you know, like how some people go like, oh, I would change this if I had another chance at it or something. I'm trying to think of any time in my life if I had the chance, or I realized I was about to make a mistake, if I was like, oh, in another lifetime I did it this way and I'm gonna change it. And I'm like, I can't. And I'm not even trying to say, like, do I try to, I mean, I do try to not live with, like, any kind of regrets in life, especially in my, like, adult years now. I never, like, even if something's like, oh, that didn't play out like I wanted it to or expected to, I don't go like, damn, I wish I did it differently, because, again, not trying to get all philosophical or anything, but I very much believe in the whole, like, hey, if you did something and it didn't work out right, again, if you murder someone, that's bad. That you should change that. But other than that, like, any of these moments, right? Like, I never try to be like, oh, I fucking wish I did it, took the other path or did it the other way or something. Because, like, you know, I try not to live like that. I don't know what point I'm trying to make. I guess going back to my original thing, I'm trying to just think if I did have the chance, if I got to live like Ketchy right here and be like, oh, I remember doing something like this in a similar lifetime. Then I'd be like, oh, don't say that one thing to that one person. I don't know, something like that. Anyway. It's like a failed attempt at me, like, trying to sound deep somehow. But I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to say, like, out loud, I was thinking, like, damn, is there any point in my life where I would have, like, tried to... And I just can't. I just can't come up with anything. I live a perfect life. Oh, God. I forced that stupid memory out of my brain and munched on the ohagi, says Ketchy.
うめえじゃねえかよ
Don't worry, the FBI isn't listening. You can tell us everything. Yeah, chat. This is, I have to commit. I have to admit. I'm the Zodiac. No. I've murdered dozens and dozens of people. And I feel no remorse. Chat, I have to admit, I'm very bad. I say all the time that I'm really good at pronouncing Japanese names. But my secret is I'm really bad at it. I know, hard to believe. And I live every day with regret, and I say to myself, maybe this stream I'll actually try a lot harder. I'll study Japanese pronunciation. I'll, you know, try to do right by the people who have to listen to this. And then every day, I make the same mistakes over and over again. Refusal to change. Too stubborn. All of it. And for that, I'm sorry. Probably murder people to get that one pachinko machine. I will. I say that as only half a joke. I will murder someone if I could get a Higurashi pachinko machine. If you're like, if you happen to own a Higurashi pachinko machine, and you also happen to have someone on a list that you would, like, Hitman style, want to pass me the name of that person, and you want them to be taken care of, I think I could... That sounds so dark. Why am I saying it like this? Anyway, Ketchy says, it's delicious.
うまくて当然
Of course it is.
針なんか入ってなかったでしょ。
There wasn't a needle inside, was there?
そりゃそうだよな。
No way.
本当にすまん。
I'm really sorry.
自分でもくだらないトラウマにずっと縛られてたって呆れるぜ。
I was just caught up in a traumatic experience I once had. My heart stopped pounding, and I felt relieved. The next moment, I got the urge to say something to Mion. It wasn't the right thing to say, but I just felt like I had to say it.
おい、ミオン。
Hey, Mion?
何？
Is he gonna, like, apologize? Huh? What is it?
おはぎ、うまかったぜ。
The ohagi was delicious.
は？
Huh?
大きなカバンを担いできた甲斐があったよ。
I'm glad I brought them then, even though they were really heavy. I didn't know why I wanted to tell her again that the ohagi was delicious, but I was glad I said that to her. I was finally released from that odd feeling.
さあさ
Well then,
あ、さとこもケイちゃんを見習ってかぼちゃをガブリといきましょう。
since Kichan overcame his fear and ate the ohagi, you should eat this squash, Satoko-chan.
よく煮込んでありますから柔らかいですよ。
It's so soft and sweet.
シオンさんのお弁当は何を食べてもかぼちゃが出てくるんですもの。
How can that lunchbox always be so full of squash?
私がトラウマになりましたよ。
You're going to give me a traumatic experience.
しーちゃんはさとこちゃんのかぼちゃ嫌いを直すのに頑張ってるんだね。
Shi-chan is trying so hard to stop Satoko-chan from hating squash.
シオンも熱心だよね。まったく
She's so passionate about it.
将来の妹のつもりなのかね。
Maybe she sees her as her future little sister. By the time I finished eating my ohagi, we had returned to our usual fun lunchtime.
ケイチ、
Keiichi?
もしもですよ。
What if?
うん。
Hmm?
もしもなんだよ。
What if what?
本当に食べ物から裁縫針が出てきたら
What if you really
どう
do?
しますか？
What if you really do see a needle inside your food? What would you do?
そんなことあるわけないね。
That's not going to happen.
リカちゃん。脅そうったって無駄だぜ。
Don't you threaten me, Rika-chan.
ケイチ、
Keiichi?
それでも出てくることがもしもあったなら
What if it really happens? Rika-chan looked at me with a serious face as I joked around. What's gone into her lately?
しつこいぜ。
Stop it.
そんなことは絶対ありえないし、信じない。
It's not going to happen, and I don't believe it will. I just overcome my stupid trauma after all that. That's why I made that firm statement.
わかりましたです。
I understand.
ケイチ、
Keiichi.
しつこくてごめんなさいなのです。
I'm sorry I'm asking you so much.
もしも針が出てきたらそれはきっとケイチの勘違いなのですよ。
If you see a needle inside your food, it's definitely some kind of mistake.
ミーが混ぜたなんて絶対に思わないであげてくださいなのです。
Please don't ever believe that it's me's fault.
ミオンを疑うなってことなんだろ。
You're just trying to tell me to not be suspicious of Mion, right?
ああ、当然だぜ。
Of course I won't.
俺は絶対に仲間を疑わないぞ。
I would never be suspicious of my friends. I raised my fist in the air. Rika-chan finally looked happy. She smiled as if she was relieved by my words. Oh. Happy Rika. Happy Rika is happy. Oh, a little smile. Look at that button smile. How could you not like Rika? Look at her. The items donated for the auction were gathered at the Frude Shrine.
おお、いろいろとあるな。
There's so much stuff here.
お中元のタオルセットとか使い古した家具あたりまでは想像してたが、何気に結構いろいろあるじゃねえかよ。
I expected to see towels and old furniture, but there are way more things than that.
すごいね。テレビや冷蔵庫まである。
I even see TVs and refrigerators.
それにこれまだ新品同然だね。
These are pretty new too.
驚いたでしょう。
Impressed, huh?
その雑機器関係のお店から余り物とか店頭展示品とか 売り物にはならないけど、まだまだ新品同然のものをいろいろと供出してもらったわけよ。
Some of them were display products or leftovers that they can't sell, but they're still practically brand new.
片遅れ品とかをあまり気にしないなら、ちょっとは立派なもんでしょ。
If you don't mind something a model behind, they're incredible, right?
電化製品に貼り付けてある日焼けした新製品というシールがなんだか哀愁を誘いますわね。
Seeing how sun bleached the brand new sticker on these appliances are makes me feel kind of sorry for them.
いやいや、サトコ、そういうのが逆にポイント高いんだぞ。
No, no, Satoko, it's actually a big selling point.
他人の使用済みの道具よりは多少すすけてても未使用の方が気持ちよく使えるってもんだ。
Even if it's a little faded, people feel better using brand new tools than they do items someone else used.
みー、最近の若者は潔癖なのです。
Me. me. Youngsters these days surely are picky.
私はあんまりそういうの気にしないから、安ければこういうのもいいかな。
I don't really care whether it's new or not. All I care about is the price.
レナさんはさっきから家具類に興味があるみたいですね。
Rina-san, you seem interested in furniture.
一人暮らしでも考えてるんですか？
Are you thinking about living on your own or something?
あ、ううん。
Oh, no.
お父さんとお家の模様替えをしようって話になってるの。
My dad and I were just talking about redecorating the house.
でもちゃんとした家具屋さんで買おうとすると高いから、こういうリサイクル品を探してたの。
Brand new furniture is expensive, so I've been checking out these recycled ones.
模様替えって家具まで変えちゃうんですの？
You're changing the furniture?
ずいぶん大掛かりですのね。
That's quite a big deal.
うん。
Yep.
うちのお父さんね、つい最近やっと就職したの。
My dad finally found a job recently.
だから新生活のための心機一転ってことで大掛かりに行きたいの。
So we kind of want to make a fresh start out of it.
レナのお父さんは就職したのですか？
Your father found a new job? Rika-chan asked her. I was thinking the same thing. Did that mean Rina's father was unemployed until recently?
うん。
Yeah.
お母さんと別れてから丸々1年就職しようとしなかった。
He didn't work for a whole year after he broke up with my mom.
レナも怒ってたんだよ。
I was so upset.
ちゃんと働きなさいって。
I was always telling him to go get a job already. Rina explained that with her usual smile, so it took me a moment to realize how serious it was. If what she said was true, her parents were divorced, and she wasn't living in a very good family environment. Rina talked about it like it was nothing.
お母さんとお父さんが別れたんですの？
Your mother and father broke up?
うん。
Yep.
茨城の町でね、離婚しちゃったの。
They got divorced in Ibaraki.
それでお父さんとレナはひなみ沢に戻ってきたんだけどね。
That's why my dad and I came back to Inamizawa.
お父さん、離婚のショックからずっと立ち直れなくて、
My dad couldn't get over the divorce for a long time, though.
ずっと寝たり、ぼーっとしたり、遊んだりしてるだけだった。
He was always just sleeping or daydreaming.
離婚も失恋も相手を愛した分だけ傷も深まります。
Divorces and breakups always wound deeper the more they loved their partner.
その落ち込みの深さは決して悪いものじゃないと私は思いますけど。
It's not really a bad thing that your father was hurt so much.
そんなロマンチックな話ならいいんだけど、
That's a romantic way to put it.
それでお父さん、いつの間にやら悪いお店に入り浸っていることが分かっちゃったの。
Anyway, I eventually found out that he was spending a lot of money at the bar.
ある日預金通帳を見てひどい金遣いにびっくり。
I was shocked when I looked at our bank account.
レナのお母さんはさ、結構有名なデザイナーさんだったらしくてさ、
Rina's mom is a famous designer.
相当稼いでたらしいんだよね。
Their family used to make lots of money.
そのおかげでだいぶたくさんの慰謝料をもらってたらしい。
So our father got lots of settlement money upon the divorce.
そのせいでお父さんは働かなくても生活できちゃったんだよね。
That's why I was able to pay for their living expenses for a while.
それが立ち直りを遅れさせちゃった原因の一つかもしれない。
Perhaps that's Perhaps that was why it took him so long to get back on track.
それは一理あるな。
That's true.
お金に余裕がなかったら働かざるを得ない。
If he had no money, he would have had no choice but to work.
そうすりゃ忙しくなって落ち込んでる暇なんかなくなるもんな。
He would have had no time to be depressed if he kept himself busy.
朝起きて登校や出勤をして夕方に帰ってきて食事して寝る
It's tough leaving an ordinary pattern of life.
っていう当たり前の生活習慣は乱れると結構堕落するもんです。
It can really mess up people's cycles.
私も学園から抜け出してきた後、しばらく無職な生活をしてたことありますからよくわかります。
I understand, because I was that way for a while after I left the academy.
お家に引きこもって一人でうじうじしているのが一番いけませんです。
Staying at home like a hermit is the worst thing you can do.
そうだね。リカちゃんの言う通りだったんだよ。
You're exactly right, Rika-chan.
だからレナね、お父さんときっぱり話をしたの。
That's why I had to talk with him.
課長としての責任とか親としての自立とか、そういう話を互いに正座しながら一晩みっちりと。
We talked about his responsibilities as the head of the household and as a parent.
レナって普段はチャラけてるけどここ一番ではきっちりしてるからな。
You always look like you're fooling around, but you're actually the most reliable person in this group.
親が相手でもきっちりってのはさすがだぜ。
I'm impressed that you even spoke to your father like that.
そんなことないよ。
It wasn't a big deal.
レナも最初はショックだったよ。
I was shocked at first.
だってお父さん、なんだか知らない女の人に貢いでるっぽかったんだもん。
I found out that my dad was spending his money on some lady.
娘としてはショックだよ。
As his daughter, it really hurt to find that out.
それでレナはどうしたのですか？
And then, what did you do?
うん、
Well,
一人で悩んでるうちは全然ダメ。
it was no good to think about it on my own.
悪いことばかり考えちゃって。
I just kept thinking in a negative way.
だからみーちゃんに打ち明けて相談してみたの。
So I spoke to Mi-chan about it.
私は話を聞いて相槌を打っただけだよ。
All I did was listen to her.
レナが自分で考えをきっちり整理して父親とちゃんと話をするべきだって結論したんだよ。
Rena was the one who faced her problems and came to the conclusion of talking with her dad about them.
相談なんてとんでもない。
I didn't give her any advice,
いやそういうのは大事だろう。
but that was the important thing.
人に話すことで悩みってのは結構冷静に考えられるもんだしな。
Talking to people about your problems can calm you down a lot.
そういうもんですかね。
Is that so?
相談する程度で解決する悩みならその程度だったってことじゃないんですか？
If she overcame it just by talking to sis, maybe her problem was that serious.
そんなことないよしーちゃん。
That's not true, Shi-chan.
私もみーちゃんと話をするまでは相手の女の人を闇討ちしようとか物騒なことしか思いつかなかったもん。
Before I spoke to Mi-chan, all I thought about was how to hurt that lady.
でもよくよく考えてみればそんなの全然最善の解決策じゃない。
But I realized that wasn't a good solution at all.
まず話し合うことから始めないとね。
Talking it out with him was the important thing.
それでレナは話し合ってどうしたのですか？
So, what happened after you spoke with him?
うん、
Well,
お父さんがグダグダしてるのはお金のせいだってことになってね。
we concluded that he wasn't moving on because of the money.
口座を別の銀行に移し替えて通帳と印鑑はレナが預かることになった。
So we transferred the funds to a different account, and I took charge of them. Damn, Rena. Good for you.
だからお父さんは毎月私からお小遣いをもらってるんだよ。
Now my dad has to get an allowance from me every month. Ah, now we know who wears the pants in this family. Oh, ho, 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 ho.
なんだかレナさんのお家は親と子が逆転してしまってますわね。
It's as though you're the parent now. Everyone else laughed along with Satoko. I wasn't sure if I should laugh, but I saw Rina laughing too.
結局さ、むやみやたらな大金がレナのお父さんを堕落させてたわけさ。
Anyway, money was keeping her father from moving on.
金銭感覚が戻れば変なお店にも行かなくなるし、ちゃんと働かなくちゃいけないって気にもなるからね。
As soon as he remembered the value of money, he stopped going to that shady bar and got a job.
でもあれはいいタイミングだった。
It really was perfect timing.
お父さん、知らない女の人のマンションの頭金を払おうとしている矢先だったの。
He was getting ready to pay the down payment for this lady's apartment.
危ないところだった。
Now, that would have been a mess.
レナが笑顔で話す割にはよくよく聞いてみると随分ヘビーな話だな。
You talk about it like it's nothing, but it's a pretty serious story.
一歩間違えば家庭崩壊だったんだよな。
Your family could have been ruined.
そうだね。
That's true.
もしあの時私がみーちゃんに相談しなくてうじうじと今日を迎えていたら、今頃きっと。
If I didn't talk to Mi-chan and kept on thinking about it on my own, I don't know where I would have been by now.
うん。
I think
その女の人を殺そうなんて考えていたかもしれない。
I probably would have tried to kill that lady. Everyone laughed at hearing such a dangerous thing come out of Rina's mouth. See, talking about murdering people, it's very funny and not very serious at all, right? So if when I, occasionally joke that I would, murder someone for just a silly little Higurashi pachinko machine, you don't need to take it as serious business. You just need to laugh and move along. But also, it's very serious if you have a Higurashi pachinko machine. The offer stands. Anyway, everyone laughed at hearing such a dangerous thing come out of Rina's mouth. Rina laughed too. But I saw something serious in her eyes. It was probably true that she once thought about murdering that lady. She seduced Rina's father so that she could get money out of him. Knowing how short-tempered I am, I might do the same if that happened to me. I think she made the right decision in talking to Mion instead of being irrational.
偉いよな。
I'm impressed.
家族の問題なんて恥ずかしくてなかなか話せるもんじゃないぜ。
It's not that easy to talk about your family issues.
そうだよね。
I know.
みーちゃんに打ち明けようと踏ん切りをつけるにはレナもちょっと時間が必要だった。
It took me a while to make the decision to talk to Mi-chan.
決め手になったのは夢なの。
But that one dream changed everything.
夢ですか？
Alright, so, I mean, not to break weirdly into the chapter here, but again, not what I was expecting. I totally thought this was going to be, for some reason in my head, it makes a lot more sense now, but in my head, as I said, rhyme, 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 I thought for some reason, I was like, oh, the massive players in this chapter would be Rika and Kechi, because they're the ones, at least Rika, we know, definitely knows about past attempts, and Kechi has shown the spark that he is able to recall certain things. But it makes sense now that we're seeing Rina potentially have changed her fate, and now she's talking about a dream. There's other characters other than Kechi that did bad things that, given the chance to redo them, could do it. And now we're probably potentially seeing that, maybe not through their own perspective, but we're at least getting a taste and glimpse here of like, oh, like I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere down the line we see soon Shion coming to grips about her and her emotional response to missing Satoshi, right? That seems like that would be another big instance of like, oh, she's actually gonna choose not to do the bad thing. And perchance, we're already somewhat kind of seeing that. Because she was at the school with them. She wasn't doing what we saw before, which was avoiding the school she was at, maybe that's why maybe that's why it was shown to be that she was in the school. Maybe that was actually an important thing and not just random Shion appearance, right? Again, maybe overthinking it. But, you know, we saw Shion dodge school, then she lived out on her own, kind of was just like doing her thing as a kid, and then grew resentment towards certain people because of the Satsuki situation, namely Satoko and the Sonozaki family, right? But maybe, and again, maybe it'll talk about it later, but at the very least, we're seeing a small glimpse of possibly Shion not going down that path, right? Because she was at school. She's not kidnapping people that we see, you know? So there's a lot of people in this group, tied to this group, that has the chance to right the wrong that they did in previous cycles that we've seen. And that makes a lot more sense than just Rika, Ketchy, buddy cop movie, him being like, oh, I don't have the ability to do this thing, but it has deja vu, and I kind of remember, and I'm not going to do it, and this trauma, and I'm like, it makes a lot more sense for like all the characters, especially if we're thinking about what chapter 7 probably leading up to the finale chapter, like what there's some schmutz on my glasses, you know, the just everyone coming together and realizing we've made mistakes in the past, whether they know that they did the mistake or not. They can come together and be like, hey, we as the reader can see that they're choosing the better path, the better option than the bad path. Anyway, Rika says a dream? Yup.
あの頃は布団の中でいつも一人悩んでた。
Every night in bed I'd think about my problems.
だからきっと夢の中でまで私は悩んでたんだと思うの。
So I was troubled even in my dreams. In my dream, I thought about what would happen to me if I didn't do anything. I don't know if what I saw was my imagination or a prediction of the future.
夢の中の未来ではお父さんはその知らない女の人ともっともっと仲良くなってて、とうとうお家にまで連れ込むようになってるの。
In my dream, I saw that lady living with us in our home. My dad and I don't smoke, but there was an ashtray in the living room. The futon in our guest room was now hers. In the bathroom, there was a toothbrush and shampoo I'd never choose to buy. It was an unusual sight. Yeah, but she was an attractive younger
それは
lady.
とても嫌な、いえ、辛いシチュエーションですわね。
That must have been a very difficult and disgusting situation. Satsuko never told me, but I'd heard that she also lost her parents. I'd heard that she went through tough times when she was taken in by her aunt and uncle. Someone told me about that once. Satsuko seemed to understand Rina's pain very well. Yes,
それはとても辛いシチュエーション。
it was a really disheartening situation.
私は家に居場所がなくなってだんだんと追い詰められていくの。
Eventually, I felt like I didn't belong there anymore.
それでちょっとした些細なきっかけで私はその女を殺してしまう。
Then something urged me to kill her.
夢にしては嫌に生々しい展開ですね。
That sounds so realistic for a dream.
それで
What happened after that?
そしたらもう私は人殺しなんだよね。
I realized I was a murderer.
誰にも殺しのことを知られたくないって怯えて怖がって誰も信用できなくなって、
I didn't want anybody to find out about it, and I stopped trusting anyone.
毎日毎日を死体を埋めた場所で過ごすの。
I spent all day at the place I buried her.
その場を離れたら誰かに死体を見つけられちゃうような気がして、いつまでもいつまでも。
I was afraid that if I left the place, someone would find out that I killed her.
嫌な未来だな。
That's a nightmare.
夢の中だけで済んでよかったと思うぜ。
I'm glad it was just a dream for you.
あれは夢だったのかな。
I don't know. I wonder if that was just a dream.
私はね、あれはきっとそのまま何もしないでいたらきっと迎えた未来なんじゃないかなって思うの。
I think I saw my future. That would have happened if I didn't do anything about the situation.
だから翌朝目が覚めた時、とても怖くて震えが止まらなかった。
I woke up the next morning shaking in fear.
私とお父さんの家なのに知らない香水の匂いがするような気さえした。
I even felt like I smelled her perfume at home.
そしてその夢が現実になるのが来年なのか来月なのか、ひょっとしたら明日なのではないかとどんどん怖くなったの。
I wondered when that dream was going to come true.
そこまで追い詰められたらもうみーちゃんに打ち明けるのにためらいはなかったね。
I was so afraid, and that pushed me to talk to Mi-chan. Also, I hate to break again and for a rambling point that I'm going to try very hard to make sense, but bear with me if it doesn't. I brought this up when it happened in the past, but I forget exactly what chapters. Some things, aspects start to blend with them and everything. But basically, the chapter where Kechi did murdering of the uncle. Not the murdering of Rina and Mion, but the murdering of the uncle. And then, he gets, like, paranoid and shit, and he goes to school, and they talk about, like, I pause. I'm trying to make sure I'm I'm sorry for how slow that was. I just like you could probably hear my brain start to short circuit there. I'm hoping I'm not mixing things up here, but basically he did that and he goes to school the next day and he starts getting more paranoid because basically from what I suspected, Mion made up the story and everyone was ready to believe in the story that he was at the Watanagashi festival. They were basically giving him and telling him what the alibi they had essentially made for him was, right? Because they were trying to cover for him. Because they most likely, or at the very least, Mion knew what was happening, right? And remember at that time, I was like, oh, they came up with a story that we exactly saw in the previous chapter where he was at the Watanagashi festival and it happened. The same things happened in the made-up story that then happened in the chapter later. Does everyone recall what that was and when I brought that up? Great. I'm just going to assume you said yes at your monitor. You're watching me, I don't know, on your television or your computer monitor or your phone, or I don't know, maybe you have a microwave that has like access to YouTube, or you're watching this video 50 years in the future and my voice is telepathically or just a brain chip being beamed into your brain somehow. I'd like to think that that's happening, maybe, and you choose to watch this video. Hello to the future. When that happened, I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And at the time, I was like, what does that mean? What does that actually mean? What does that mean for the story of the previous chapters? Because, like, you would have to... At the time, we were working with the assumption that every instance of this repeating timeline was its own separate instance and there wasn't any crossover. And I don't know if I'm willing to commit to such a bizarre theory here, but it's less likely that someone like Rika who experienced the previous thing, but it's possible, right? If Rika was in on it and she experienced the last cycle, I mean, she would just have to get with Mion and be like, yeah, let's make up a story, and let's say she just said the story of what happened last time. I guess the more bizarre theory I was about to posit here, especially now that we see that potentially people like Rina right here. What if it was like, this is so far-fetched, I don't know if this, I mean, again, there might be already holes people are poking into what I'm about to say and what I'm potentially theorizing. I don't necessarily believe in it. I don't want to say theorizing it, but I'm just putting it out there. What if on the small chance, I don't know if it would be the same situation, obviously. It's clearly not going to be in the same exact situation. but somehow Mion also has some ability or foresight into seeing what happened in previous cycles for some reason, and we just don't know because she hasn't been brought up. It hasn't been brought up, and we don't know. Again, you could just say, well, it makes sense for Rika. Again, and I could be overthinking a lot of things here. Not only overthinking, overlooking holes in this theory or whatever, or what I'm saying. I'm just kind of rambling at the top of my mind here, but like, at the time I was like, oh, that's really interesting and weird and strange, and I pointed it out. But we, again, weren't working with the knowledge that there was this carryover effect that some characters apparently could do from instance to instance. What if the reason, there was a real reason for that, and the real reason is for either A, Rika took the story of what happened as a friend group from the previous cycle and just said, here, Mion, this is going to be the fake alibi story we create for Kechi. Or B, does Mion also have some kind of ability, or she remembered what happened in the previous cycle to then make up the alibi for him? Or C, none of that is true, and it's just a weird coincidence. Or D, Austin, can you just press the next text button so that we can finish this fucking stream? Some people probably think of that. Whatever. Anyway, I'm delaying forwarding. I was so afraid, and that pushed me to talk to Michan.
レナがものすごい神妙な顔で内緒の相談があるなんて言ってきた時は、
I remember Rena coming up to me and telling me that she had a secret to tell me.
おじさんはてっきり変な検査薬で陽性でも出ちゃったんじゃないかと真面目に思ったよ。
I honestly thought she'd gotten a positive on a pregnancy test for a moment. Ah, the good old-fashioned pregnancy scare. Who hasn't had one of those in their lives?
まあ実際今だから笑い話だけど、当時は本当に笑えなかったね。
I could talk about it like this now, but it was very serious then.
みーちゃんは本当に頼りになったよ。
Mi-chan is a really dependable person.
落ち着いて私の話を聞いてくれて、現実的な解決の糸口を探ってくれた。
She listened to me and guided me through a solution.
それでやっぱり親子でちゃんと話さないとダメだっていう当たり前の到達点にたどり着いたってわけ。
Eventually, we decided that I needed to talk with him face to face.
それは夢ではなかったかもしれませんですよ。
Perhaps it wasn't just a dream.
そうだね。
You're right.
ただの夢じゃなかったのかもしれないね。
I think it was more than that.
もしその夢を見なかったらレナはミオンに打ち明けなかった可能性もあるもんな。
Without that dream, it's possible that you never would have spoken to Mion.
レナの人生を決めた重要な夢だぜ。
That could have changed your life dramatically.
夢か。
A dream, huh?
あんたも夢を見るんだ。
You've had dreams too, Shion.
へえ。
Huh? Shion had said something in a small voice. Only Mion picked up on what it was. I don't know what she said, but based on Mion's reaction, she must have said something serious. By the way, Shion usually went to school in Okinomiya. However, she'd been coming to the school in Hinamazawa lately. I didn't know why she chose to come this far, but she seemed to be having fun taking care of Satoko. Huh. I had no idea what brought Shion and Satoko together. Wait. See? That's Shion. Instead of going on the one-woman fucking rampage that she ended up going on, she actually took the whole look after Satoko for me message, and it's all good. How are we having everything starting to seemingly get resolved here in chapter 7? We have a whole nother chapter after this. We gotta hold it. We gotta hold everyone. When will the shoe drop? When's the bad thing gonna actually happen though? It's all gonna be for naught somehow. It's gonna have to do with fucking Takano. She's gonna show back up and do something wacky. I don't know. That would be my guess. I don't know. Wait, weren't they on bad terms once? Huh? Is that true? Were they always that close or not? Oh man.
だから思ったの。
Now I know.
人と相談するのはとても大事。
It's important to talk to other people. Sorry, I have to respond. Okay. We'll have fun in a normal way. We'll laugh together in a normal way. And we'll fall in love in a normal way. We don't doubt each other. We'll trust each other.
仲間はただの遊び友達じゃない。
Friends have greater meaning than I thought.
本当に大切なことを打ち明けられる重要な存在なんだって。そんな当たり前のことに気づいたの。
You can talk to them about anything. I finally came to realize that.
そうだな。
You're right.
だとしたらレナにとっては親子の問題を解決しただけでなく仲間の重要さにも気づけたわけなんだな。
You resolved not only your family issue, but you also realized the importance of friendship.
うん。
Yeah.
だから私も誰かが悩みを持ったら相談に乗りたいし助けたい。
If anyone is troubled by something, I want to help.
絶対に力になりたい。
I really do.
だから私が打ち明けるに足る仲間だと信じてほしい。
I want everyone to think that they can talk to me about their problems.
み
Me.
とても大切なことをレナが言っていますです。
Arena is saying something very important right now. Rika-chan is right. We all nodded at her without joking around. A moment later, we heard someone locking the door. We were all surprised. That person didn't mean to lock the door. She must have locked it by accident, not knowing that it was already open. She turned the knob, thinking that it was now unlocked. Oh? Is anybody inside? Lady knocked on the door. Could hear several other people outside the door.
あー、ごめんなさい。
Oh, sorry.
今開けます。
Let me open it. Min replied in a loud voice and walked toward the door. I heard her greeting the ladies from the town council.
ちょっとみんな、手を貸してくれる？
Hey, will you guys lend me a hand?
なんだどうした？
What is it? I immediately saw why Mion was called us over. People from the village committee had brought another donation. It was an old cupboard. I helped to carry it inside the room. As I walked through the door, I realized the Higurashi were starting to cry, taking over from the cicadas.
ああ、前原くん。あんた叩き売りの司会を引き受けてくれたんね。
I heard you're going to host the auction, Maibara-kun.
もうみんながあんたしか適任がいないんって太鼓判押すんよ。
Everyone thinks you're the best man for that job.
だからおばさん、前原くんの司会が楽しみで。
We're all looking forward to seeing your showmanship.
あ、いや
Oh.
せいぜい頑張りますので、あまり期待しないでくれると嬉しいです。
I'll do my best, but please don't expect too much from me.
そんなこと言っちゃって。
Sure, you say.
今日ここに来たのも売り物を吟味して売り文句を考えておきたいからなんですよ。
You're here today so you can come up with an idea of how to sell these items.
当日は期待しましょう。
I have every reason to expect great things from you.
したら叩き売りはちゃんと来ないかんね。
I'll make sure I'm at my best then. The other ladies smiled and told me they were looking forward to it. It hadn't been that long since I moved to this village, but even these people offered me a position of huge responsibility during the festival. So you could say that they've accepted me as a member of this village. I caused so much trouble where I lived before that I couldn't even go outside. But they're accepting me as a member of the village? I was so happy. I felt bad that I still hadn't learned all their names, but I was going to do my best to entertain the villagers who were supporting me.
ミオンちゃんはどうする？
What are you going to do now, Mion-chan?
まだ残るんかいね。
Are you staying here?
ああ、いや、もう私たちも帰ります。も
No, we're going home now.
ういいよね、ケイちゃん。
Right, Ki-chan?
まあ、
Yep.
雰囲気さえつかめりゃ、あとは出たとこ勝負だ。
I got a good idea of what we have here.
なるようになるだろう。
I should be fine now.
綿流しには興味ないんだけど、ケイちゃんの司会は見たいな。
I'm not interested in Nagashi, but I do still want to see his auction.
私も来ようかな。
Maybe I'll come to the festival too.
シオンさんもぜひいらっしゃいませ。
You absolutely must be there, Shion-san.
みんなで一緒に騒ぐのは楽しいですわよ。
It'll be great fun if we all hang out together.
私は反対。
I disagree.
シオンは沖宮に住んでるんだから、沖宮の祭りにでも行っちゃえ。
She lives in Okinomiya, so she should go to the festival there.
レナはシーちゃんが来るの賛成。
I think Shi-chan should come.
シーちゃんが来るとミーちゃんが面白くなる。
I think Mi-chan will prove entertaining if she does.
では多数決により C の参加は決定なのですよ。
Since most of us want her to be here, it's decided that she is going to come.
というわけです、お姉。
You hear that, sis?
当日は私のせいでお姉の地味っぷりが露呈しちゃうかもしれませんけど、まあ仲良くしてくださいね。
You'll be in my shadow on the day of the festival, but let's at least be nice to each other.
シオン嫌い、シオン嫌い、シオン嫌い。
I hate you, Shion. I hate you, Shion. I hate you, Shion. Whatever Mion says, I know that they're actually close. The more Mion tried to refuse her, the more it's obvious how close they really were.
じゃあでよ。
Right, let's go.
忘れ物とかない？
Make sure you get everything.
明かり消すよ。
I'm turning off the light now. We made sure that we didn't leave anything inside and left the room. I looked around the shrine grounds while Mion locked the door. This big place will be filled with people on the day of Nagashi.
このだだっ広い境内がお祭り一色になるんだよな。
These grounds are going to be the site of the festival.
なんだか全然想像がつかないぜ。
Man, I can't even imagine the crowd.
すっげえ楽しみだ。
I'm really looking forward to it.
模擬店とかがいっぱい並んで人もものすごいたくさん来るんだよ。
There's going to be a lot of stalls and it'll be packed with people.
きっと圭一くんもびっくりするかな。
You'll be surprised, I think.
年に一度なんてケチなことを言わず季節のたびにやってくれてもいいんですのにね。
I wish they'd quit being stingy and hold something every season instead of once a year.
そういや、季節のたびに来る人はいたね。
That reminds me, there is someone who visits every season.
はい、
Huh?
そんな人いましたっけ？
Who are you talking about?
あ、それは俺もわかるぞ。
Oh, I know who you mean.
この間会ったカメラマン風の人だろ。
It's that photographer I met the other day, isn't it?
名前はなんて言ったっけ？
What was his name?
圭一は富武を知っていますのですか？
You know Toмотake, Kechi?
そうそう、富武さんだったな。
That's right. It was Toмотake-san.
いや、先日の帰り道で会ってさ、
I met him on my way back home.
ミオンとレナに教えてもらっただけだよ。
Rina and Mion told me about him.
妙にたくましい体つきの割に腰の低い感じのおっさん。
Despite his burly frame, he's a fairly modest guy.
季節のたびにひなみ沢に来てる熱心な旅行写真家なんだろ？
He comes every year to take pictures, right?
自称でございますけどね。
That is what he claims, at least. He comes to
あ
get
の人が来る
murdered.
と今年ももう綿流しだなって気がするよ。
Whenever I see him, I feel like Nagashi is close by.
それで綿流しが終わると本格的に夏が始まるんだよね。
And after Nagashi, it's the beginning of summer.
そうだね。
That's true.
でも今年は暑くなるのが早いからもうセミが鳴いてるけどね。
But the cicadas are already crying because it's gotten hot early this year.
異常気象とかテレビで言ってますわね。
I heard on TV that this year is unusual.
温暖化がどうしたこうしたとよく聞きますわ。
It's something to do with a thing called global warming.
暑い夏、大いに結構じゃねえか。
I love a hot summer.
夏が涼しかったらなんだかつまらないぞ。
It's not a proper summer if it's cool. Kechi, don't say that. Global warming is bad, Kechi. And hot summers suck. They suck. Take it from me. They suck.
そうですね。
Yeah, I agree.
季節通りの気候の方が気分がいいもんです。
I like the different climates of the seasons.
冷夏や暖冬はなんだか損した気になります。
Cool summers and warm winters disappoint me.
夏に負けないくらいこの夏の私たちも熱くいこう。
But we've got to be as passionate as a hot summer too.
綿流し祭何人だ？
How many of us are going to be up there at the festival?
綿流し祭六強爆闘だね。
It's going to be a battle of the 6 evils.
今年の綿流しもみんなで一緒に楽しく過ごせますですよ。
Once again, we'll have a great Wanagashi this year.
そうだね。
I agree.
楽しく過ごせるといいね。
I hope we'll have lots of fun.
お、レナは知らねえな。
Hey, Rina, don't you know?
リカちゃんのは希望的憶測じゃねえんだぜ。
When Rika-chan says something like that, it's not just what she hopes for.
本当の予言なんだぜ。
It's a prediction.
だからリカちゃんが当日は楽しくなるって言ったら絶対にそうなる。
If Rika-chan is telling us that it's going to be great, it really is going to be great.
だってこれは運命なんだからな。
That's our fate,
そうだろリカちゃん。
right, Rika-chan?
はい、
Yes,
運命なのですよ。
that's our fate. Rika-chan smiled with a nippa. Her smile assured me that the day of Wanagashi was going to be a great one for us.
当日さ、すぐにオークションってわけじゃねえんだろ。
The auction won't be starting right away, will it?
うん。
No.
始まるのは奉納演舞の一つ前だから夕方からならみんなで一緒に遊ぶ時間は十分にあるよ。
It's going to be right before the ritual dance, so we'll have plenty of time to hang out together.
そうですわよね。
Indeed.
初めてのお祭りなのに一緒に遊べないなんて気の毒ですもの。
It's your first festival. You deserve to have fun.
ケイちゃんの叩き売りを楽しんだ後はリカちゃまの奉納演舞ですか。
After Kichan's auction, we get to see Rika-chama's ritual dance?
なかなかいいじゃないですか。
Sounds good to me.
ということは僕は圭一の司会を最後まで見られず途中で演舞の準備に行かなくてはならないのです。
That means I don't get to see Kichan the whole time. I have to stand by for the dance.
へえ、リカちゃんも出番があるのか。
You're going to be in the show too, Rika-chan?
演舞ってなんだ？
What is that dance all about?
やっぱり古出神社の巫女さんだから何か神事でもやるわけか？
Are you going to do something traditional because you're the shrine maiden?
綿流しの名の通りお布団の綿を清める演舞と儀式があるの。
There's a dance and a ceremony for paying respect to the cotton inside the futon.
リカちゃんがとっても頑張るから圭一くんもいっぱい応援してあげてね。
You should root for Rika-chan too, Kechi-kun.
それでね、
You see? You see?
リカちゃんが巫女さん装束で重い細工をフラフラしながら振るうのがね、とっても可愛いんだよ。
When Rika-chan dances in her shrine maiden outfit, it's just so cute.
お持ち帰り。
I'm taking her home with me. I've never seen a real shrine maiden before. I'm sure Rika-chan really will look adorable. I was looking more and more forward to the Wanagashi festival. Rina, Mion, Shion, Satoko, Rika-chan, and I. 6 of us will definitely have a great time there. How many more days do we have? I've never been this excited about a festival in my life. We're either setting ourselves up for an actually good festival and nothing bad happening, or it's gonna be tragic again. I can't tell. Oh. Satoko's snoring. I thought we were... Satoko's snoring sounded so subtle when I stood by the window.
さとこ
Satoko? Snoring ASMR. I could tell that she was sound asleep.
いびきが可愛いのですよ。
She snores so cutely. Hanyu laughs and tries to poke Satoko's nose. I looked up at the sky. Nothing was different about the moon, but the moonlight seemed warmer than usual to me.
リカは機嫌がいいようなのです。
Rika, you seem to be in a good mood.
うん、
Yes,
確かにそうかもしれない。
I think I am. I realized it only after Hanyu pointed it out. I really was in a very good mood. Otherwise, I wouldn't be enjoying the view of the sky on a humid night like this. I felt like bringing a toast to the moon. As I rooted around the back of the closet, Hanyu spoke to me, sounding noticeably upset.
リカ、お酒はダメなのですよ。
Rika, don't you even think about drinking?
いいじゃない。
I deserve it.
今夜くらい。
Just tonight. Hanyu doesn't like alcohol. If I drink, Hanyu will also taste it, so she always complains when I try to drink. That's why I usually drink only when Hanyu is far away from me. Of course, she'll know right away when I do, but it's too late by then.
ダメです、ダメです。リカにはワインは早いのです。
No, you can't. You're too young to be drinking.
リカは私よ。
It's my body.
リカが飲みたいものはリカが決めるわ。
I'm going to make my own decisions.
ダメです。僕はワインが嫌いなのです。
No, I hate alcohol.
ダメです。ダメ、ダメ。
You can't drink.
今日は喧嘩はなしだってば。
I don't want to fight with you tonight.
わかったわ。じゃああんたにも飲みやすいように 甘いオレンジジュースで割ってあげる。
I'll dilute it with orange juice so you can handle the taste.
それならいいでしょ。
Is that a deal?
ワインのあの匂いが嫌いなのです。
That's not the point. I don't like the smell of alcohol.
だからダメ、ダメ。
You know that phrase that's always like, oh, that person is probably really fun to have like a beer with or whatever. I'd like to share a drink with that person. I would want to go drinking with Rika. And I know that probably sounds weird because Rika, again, looks like a very young person. She's a very baby child person, but the whole point is, and see here, she's maturity-wise a very old person. She's lived a lot of lives, right? Seemingly. If I could take that experienced Rika and I don't know, let's go have a drink and just shoot the shit, you know? She is the character in Higurashi I would most want to share a beer with. And definitely not Takano. Takano is probably at the bottom of that list. That would be a painful, dreadful night if I was sharing a drink and a conversation with Takano. Hanyu here says, so you can't drink! Hanyu jumped around and complained. She was making a lot of noise right where Satoko's sleeping.
やめなさい。サトコが起きちゃうでしょ。
Stop that. You're going to wake her up.
残念でしたなのです。
No, I'm not.
僕はリカ以外には見えないし聞こえませんから。いくらトタンバタンしてもリカにしか聞こえないのです。
Remember. Excuse me, you're the only one who can hear me.
あったんべ
Blah.
ー。はは。あんたはたまに身の程をわきまえないわね。
Oh, just who do you think you are? I went to the refrigerator and took out a pack of orange juice and the spicy kimchi I typically use for her punishment. Ah!
はい問題。
Let me ask you a question.
私がおつまみに激辛キムチをいっぱい食べて羽生が辛い思いをするのと
Would you prefer if I ate this spicy kimchi to punish you?
オレンジジュースで割った甘いワインを飲んで一緒に月を楽しむのとどっちがいい
Or drink a sweet orange juice cocktail while enjoying this beautiful moon instead? Hanyu clenched her lips while jumping up and down, ready to burst into tears. She should be disciplined for being that noisy. But she never has been, since I'm the only one who can hear her. Besides, she's like air, so I can't even give her a spanking. Hanyu loves sweets, but she really hates spicy food.
いいか飛び跳ねるのはおやめなさいませ
Uh-oh. Rika, would you stop jumping around? Satoko woke up suddenly and I had to hide my glass in a hurry. Satoko doesn't know about my drinking habit.
今何時だと思ってるんですの。
What time do you think it is? She fell asleep again after speaking.
ほら、あんたのドタンバタンがうるさいって注意されたわよ。
See? She was bothered by you jumping around like that.
この安眠妨害。
You nighttime nuisance. Oh. Just like I'm the only one who can see her, I'm usually the only person who can hear the noise she makes. However, that's not the case all the time. Hanyu does exist in this world. Sometimes people can actually hear and feel her existence. It doesn't happen too often, and most people think that they just heard some random noise. Based on my experience, people who are at a critical condition like Satoko tend to hear her more often. Is it possible then that all those moments in the past when characters have said they've heard something like footsteps or someone walking next to them or they felt a presence, was it Hanyu this whole time? Perchance, perhaps. When I say critical condition, I mean who've reached the L4 stage, as Irie would describe it. At that stage, there's nothing that can be done anymore. They will feel the existence and hear the noise of someone they can't see. That would really mess with their mind. Hanyu stopped jumping up and down and gave up as I started pouring alcohol into my glass. I wasn't drinking because I wanted to be mean to Hanyu. In fact, I always wished she would enjoy it too. I poured only a little bit of wine inside the glass and diluted it with plenty of orange juice. In fact, this cocktail is pretty much just juice. I also put some crushed ice inside the glass. With that, it looked like a real cocktail they serve at the bar.
ほら、羽生。
See, Hanyu?
これくらいの薄さなら平気でしょ。
It's very diluted. I licked the edge of the glass to see how she'd react.
このくらいなら平気なのです。
I guess it's not that bad.
そう。じゃあ今夜はこの濃さにするわ。
Good. I'll be drinking this tonight.
もう怖がらないで。辛いのはしまうわ。
There's nothing to be afraid of anymore, alright? Hanyu has been scared of that kimchi punishment for a while. As I put it back inside the refrigerator, she seemed relieved. I took the glass and headed back to the window. There was no breeze, but it seemed a little bit cooler.
ねえ、羽生。
Hey, Hanyu.
あなたも今回は何かが違うって感じてる？
Do you feel that something is different this time?
圭一やレナの話ですか？
Are you talking about Kechi and Rina?
それから多分シオンもね。
Shion, too.
みんな過去の世界をごくわずかだけど記憶してる。
Everyone remembers a little bit about their past.
そしてそれを生かして致命的な失敗を避けている。
They seem to be using those memories, to avoid their fatal mistakes.
個々にはそう珍しいことではないと思いますです。
I don't think it would be that surprising if this was happening individually.
でも圭一やレナ、シオンなどみんながみんな同時にそうなることは僕もとても珍しいことだと思いますのです。
But I find it very strange that's happening to everyone all at once.
私はよく自分の運命をすごろくに例えるんだけど、
I know I often use board games as examples of fate,
これは3つ振ったサイコロがみんな6だったよう
but
な、そういう幸運じゃないかと思うの。
I feel like this is the same lucky chance as rolling all sixes on 3 dice.
僕たちの望む未来に最も近い位置からのスタートという意味では、理科のその例えは正しいと思いますのです。
I think that's a good way to describe it in the sense that you're starting closest to your desired future.
でも
But
これは理科が期待するような意味の奇跡ではありませんですよ。
I don't think this is the miracle that you've been waiting for. I knew what she was trying to say. She was telling me not to expect too much. The die is designed to have 6 sides. It's not a miracle if I roll it and get a 6. A true miracle is when I roll it once, but get a 10, just like what happened with Kechi in my previous life. In other words, a miracle is something that would normally never happen. Keiichi gave the doll to Mion. Rina spoke with her father, and Shion started taking care of Satoko after remembering her promise to Satoshi. That was all because they had those intentions somewhere in their hearts. It was only a side of their die that was engraved there already. But still, even if you couldn't call 3 dice rolling this well a miracle, it did mean good fortune.
リカが頑張ろうという強い意志を見せたので、天の神様が祝福しているのに違いないのです。
I'm sure it was God's way of celebrating you're finally feeling motivated to change your fate. Hee.
あんたも神様じゃなかったの？
I thought you were one of the gods.
リカは僕をいじめるときだけ神様扱いしますです。
You only treat me like a god when you're trying to tease me.
冗談よ。お願いだからいじけないで。
I was just kidding. Don't get upset.
そんなわけだから。今夜はとても機嫌がいいのよ。
Anyway, that's why I'm in such a good mood tonight. I lifted up the glass of orange wine and gave a toast to the moon. It tasted like nothing but sweet orange juice. It was funny to see Hanyu making a happy face as I took a sip.
今度こそ昭和58年の死の運命から逃れられるのでしょうか。
I wonder if I can escape the death of 1983 this time.
逃れることがゴールのすごろくなのだとしたら、これほど幸先のいいスタートはもう二度とないかもしれない。
If our goal is to escape from this board, then I don't think we'll ever have such fortunate start again. No matter how hard I tried to prevent things from happening, there are some things I can never control. It's such a huge letdown when that happens. Even after trying so hard, something renders my efforts infertile. I've probably been wasting my time for so long because I was trying to escape from that pain. For the first time in my life, then, I've been blessed with a favorable situation. Everything seems perfect in this world. There's no reason for me to be depressed. It's like the weather is perfect and the wind is blowing in just the right way. If I failed to put my ship out to sea, there was nothing to pin the blame on. I understood what Hanyu was trying to say with the concerned look on her face. If I didn't escape my death under this fortunate situation, I'd have to accept my fate wasn't something that can be changed. This is an ideal world where all my friends overcame their problems. I was always in a depressing world, but this time all the pieces of the puzzle matched. If I couldn't change my fate in this world, then it was proof that I couldn't change it in any world. That was the ending that I've been afraid of for a long time. The loss of hope, and the death of my soul. Of the pair of us, I was probably the only one who would die. Hanyu will most likely remain there even if my spirit disappears. She must be afraid of being alone after I lose myself. That's why she's telling me not to expect too much. I bit down on an ice chip inside my mouth. It was pleasantly cold.
Hanyu?
Hanyu?
何度も繰り返した話で申し訳ないんだけど、また付き合ってほしいの。
I know we've been over this many times, but I want you to think about me again.
いいのですよ。
Sure.
どうしてリカが必ず昭和58年に殺されるかですね。
You want to know why you're being murdered in 1983? Yes.
強い意志は強い運命を生み出す。
A strong will becomes fate.
ということは、私が昭和58年に必ず殺されるのは、相当の強い意志に基づいているということになる。
That means that the reason I get murdered this year is because of someone's strong will.
おそらくそうだと思いますです。
I think you're right.
フルでリカを殺して誰がどんな得をするのかしら。
Who will benefit from killing Rika Furude?
強い意志があるのですから、おそらくは明白な動機があるものと思いますです。
If that person has a strong will, there must be a clear motive for them doing so.
自分で言うのも嫌だけど、
It might sound odd coming from me,
フルでリカは
村人みんなに好かれていると思う。
But I think most people like Rika Furude.
一般的な村人に殺害動機があるとは思えない。
I don't think any villager would have to motive to kill me.
少なくともこの村に住まう人間である以上、理科に好意を抱かない人間はいないはずなのです。
The people who live in this village are all fond of you.
あんたのおかげでね。
Thanks to you.
あうあう
Oh, oh.
今のは感謝の言葉よ。
I'm just showing you my appreciation.
まあいいわ。
Anyway,
長いこと疑ってきた園崎本家も違った。
we now know that the Sonozaki family is not the culprit.
となると、私を殺したい人間や勢力が思いつかない。
I have no idea who else would want to kill me.
むしろ理科にとっては世界中のどこよりもこの村にいるのが安全なはずなのです。
You know, this village is supposed to be the safest place in the world for you.
そうね。
You're right.
世界中のどこよりもここが安全なはずなの。
It's supposed to be.
私を殺そうとする人間がいるどころか、私を守ろうという人間がいるはずなのに。
There are plenty of people who would protect me here. It's ironic. For a long time, I've been refusing help from all those people who are trying to keep me safe.
理科、
Rika,
やはり入江たちを頼るのはどうですか？
I think we should rely on Irie. People in this village love and cherish me. But no matter what, they never saved me when I tried to escape the fate of my death. I spoke to several villagers in the past, but they never believed me, and none of them saved me in the end. Oof. Oh, that brings... that brings, like, chapter 4. Like, when she specifically tells that guy... mi corazón. They probably didn't believe me because I had no idea who was trying to kill me or what their motive was. If I could explain that, people might be more accepting of my story. But there's nothing I can do about that. No one would believe a little girl saying that she's going to be killed without rhyme or reason. All they think of me is as the reincarnation of Oishiro-sama and the leader of the Furude family. They do cherish me, but they won't protect me with their lives. On the other hand, Irie and his people are totally different. They realize how special I am, and they would try to make sure that nothing happens to me. If I confessed to them that my life was in danger, I'm sure they would do their best to prevent it. They have all the means to protect me from a violent end. However, none of it really worked in the past. It's not that they're unreliable, it's because Takano, the one responsible for protecting me, also gets killed on the same day every time. In other words, asking her for help is completely useless. She's very reliable, but she also isn't. It's ironic that I'm the only one who knows the reason why they can never save me.
それが狙いなのかしら。
I wonder if that's the murderer's plan.
富武と高野を殺し、私を守る者を排除して、それから殺す。
Toмотake and Takano get killed because they're my guardians. Then I get killed after that.
確かに高野たちの死は理科の死と密接に関係する先触れなのです。
I think Takano's death is definitely related to your own.
同じ運命なら、いや、同じ犯人が同じ目的でやっている犯行なら。
If it's the same fate, I mean, if the same suspect is killing them for the same motive.
あの二人の死をなんとか覆すことで、私の運命もまた覆せるんじゃないかしら。
I might be able to alter my own outcome by preventing their deaths.
理科は多分覚えていませんですが、ずいぶん前にもそう言って実行したことがありましたです。
I don't know if you remember, but we've tried that once before. The deaths of Takano and Toмотake mean the loss of my protection. Because if two of them die, the suspect is able to kill me. That's why I've tried to prevent their deaths somehow. But they never believed me. I tried so hard to persuade them, but they didn't listen. I eventually gave up and just thought of their deaths as fated to happen. It's the same hopeless feeling I used to have toward my parents when I was able to go farther back in time. When I found out that death was inevitable, I lost interest in them. After all that time had passed, I forgot how hard I used to try to prevent my parents' deaths.
それにリカはイリエたちのことは嫌ってると思いましたです。
Besides, I thought you hated Irie and his people.
まあね、
Yeah,
連中は明らかに私たちをモルモットだと思ってるし。
they look at us as nothing but their guinea pigs. I support them so I can help Satoko, but it disgusts me to think that they're only using me as a test subject. I've been resenting Irie for that reason. Still, I should try to get closer to him. After all, he's only a person who understands how important I am. He's the main person I should be talking to, and he has the most potential for protecting me. I can't avoid seeking help from him just because I don't like him. I've asked him for help several times before, but Tomotage and Takano get murdered even so, and it ruins everything. After their deaths, Irie panics and becomes useless. That's why I gave up on seeking help from him. But in this world, I've been blessed with a positive situation. I will never have as lucky a start as this again. This is the best chance I'll ever get, so I should give it my best shot. I really don't like him at all. Damn. But he's not a bad person. I should respect him more. He's serious about helping Satoko, and he's not as much of a mad scientist as I'm inclined to think. Takano is a strange person too, but she's also someone who can give me support. But she thinks I'm only her guinea pig. That's why I don't really want her help. Tomotage is more reliable than Takano, but the biggest problem is that he only visits the village a few times a year. On top of that, he always dies before I get killed, so he can never really help me. However, they really are the people I should be talking to. If I can change the fate of their deaths, they should be able to save me from my own. It's possible that the only reason I lived until 1983 was because of their effort.
高野たちに接触して彼らを救えるようまた努力してみようと思うの。
I'm going to approach them once more and do what I can to try and save them.
あ、大丈夫よ。
Oh, don't worry.
どうせ殺されると思ってるから変に期待してない。
I expect they'll be murdered anyway, so I'm not getting my hopes up.
だから期待を裏切られても全然平気よ。
So I'll be fine, even if his hope's betrayed.
リカがひどいことを言ってますのです。
Oh, you're such a cruel girl. I chuckled at her comment.
もし死の運命から逃れられれば私の運命に対して大きな影響を与えてくれるのは間違いない。
If they can escape their fated deaths, then I'm sure they'll greatly influence my own destiny as well.
そして今回はそれでも二人が殺されるのを前提に話をしてみようと思うの。
And this time, I'm gonna try talking to them with the assumption they'll still be killed.
つまり二人が殺された後私にも及ぶだろう危害への警護について。
In short, I'll talk to them about how I'll be protected from my coming danger after they die.
ちゃんとそういう指示を出してくれれば高野たちの死後も私の身辺は強固に警備されているかもしれない。
If they issue such orders, then maybe the guard around me will be strengthened after they do. The protection they provide is probably the highest standard of security I could hope for. Yet, I lose at the moment Tomotage and Takano die, so I never have their protection after Wadnagashi, and therefore, I get killed too. In other words, that's it. Whoever possesses a strong will to kill me actually just wants me dead. Yet so long as those two are alive, there's tight security all around Hinamizawa. That prevents the killer from getting to me. So, to kill me, I must first kill Tomotage and Takano, the heart of that security. Then my protection falls away, leaving me exposed.
リズムで考えれば考えるほど二人の運命と私の運命はつながっているのね。
The more I reason it out, the more I realize their fates are connected to mine.
そうやって考えると、あの二人を見殺しにした時点で、私の運命は逃れられないものに決まってしまうのかもしれない。
Thinking from that point of view, my destiny becomes inescapable the moment I abandon them to die.
なら、理科のすべきことはもう明らかなのです。
You should know what you have to do first, then.
そうね。
Yes.
自分の命より先に、あの二人の命を救う方が先決ってことね。
I have to think about saving their lives before thinking about mine. It's kind of ironic. I gave up on them because I was more determined to save my own life, but I finally came to the conclusion that I have to help them first before helping myself. But there's something I still don't understand. Someone with conviction this strong is trying to kill me for some equally strong motive. Yet no matter how often I debate it, I can't think of anyone who'd benefit from my death. Not only that, but there should only be people who'd want to protect me. Especially since they would do anything to protect me and the present environment. They even eliminated my mother. To be perfectly honest, I don't even care about her anymore. I never get along with her. She's the only one who took my father's death the wrong way, making a huge deal out of it like she did. So, she got what she deserved. I'm a valuable guinea pig for them, and I can be a bomb too. No one benefits from making me explode. There's only disaster awaiting them if that happens. Lots of people will be lost, and nobody would gain anything from that. According to Takano, my death would be like the eruption of a volcano in the middle of the village. I'm not interested in what happens after my death, but they're really concerned about it. They're watching me every day to ensure that I don't accidentally hit my head on the corner of a block of tofu and die. It's fair to say that they're here in order to prevent the eruption from happening. I'd be suspicious of them if they were going to benefit in some way from my death. But as everyone knows, that can't possibly be the case. My death would create nothing but a disaster. They're benefiting from me being alive right now.
損得の問題ではなく、何かの怨恨かもしれないとは随分思ったわよね。
Perhaps it's not about gain, but about a grudge.
私個人じゃなくて、古出家に対する恨みみたいなものが伝統的に御三家とかに残ってたりして、私が爆弾だと知らないからこそ殺したと。
Maybe someone has a strong grudge against my family, and kills me not knowing that I'm like a bomb to this village. That's why I was suspicious of the three families, especially the Sonozaki family. However, after preserving them in numerous worlds, I feel that's not the case. I felt that way in several lives, but it always had something to do with the incident with Kechi and the doll. It's clear that there's nothing going on between the Sonozaki family and mine.
あとは
In that case,
狂信的な何者かなのです。
it must be some religious fanatic. If it's not about profit or grudge, it might be someone who's secretly a deranged cultist. We've already had a series of murders 4 years in a row under the name of Oishiro-sama's curse. Timing-wise, it would somewhat interesting. I think it's missing a word there. It would somewhat be interesting if I, the reincarnation of Oishiro-sama, were killed on the 5th year. I couldn't stand to be murdered for such a whimsical reason, but such a motive actually seemed fitting. Ironically, I'd have to suspect Takano if that's the case. She's well known for being an eccentric researcher of local histories. She's only interested in the village's history because she already knows who I am. She's doing the research based on the notion that I'm important. So she should have no reason to kill me. She would desire to keep me close to her as a research sample. It's hard to believe that she would kill her favorite toy. She might be willing to kill someone who would try to harm her little toy, though.
まあ、いくら考えてもわからないし、どうでもいいことかもしれないわね。
I'll never find out, no matter how hard I think.
誰かが私を必ず殺す。
I just know that someone is definitely going to kill me.
その事実から逃れられれば、他はとりあえずどうでもいいんだから。
I don't care about anything else, as long as I can escape that fate. No, take that back. I want to escape my deadly fate, but I also want all my friends to be happy, and I want the rest of my life to be happy too. I don't want to hide myself in the forest forever just to get away from my murderer. In fact, I've tried that once before, but I still met with the same ending. Living in the forest was a horrible experience. I think I was able to survive until July that time. That might be the longest I ever lived. I smiled bitterly and finished off the rest of the orange wine in the glass. I'd have to talk to Irie again. I don't like him, but his people are my only hope.
もういい時間ね。
It's getting late.
どこに戻らないと
I should go to
明
sleep.
日が辛いわ。
I should go to sleep now.
僕もそう思いますです。
I think so too.
おやすみなさいなのですよ。
Good night. I laid down and closed my eyes, but I couldn't fall asleep right away. Suddenly, I remembered Rina's words out of nowhere. It was no good when I was thinking about it on my own. I wasn't thinking about it on my own. I was talking out with Hanyu. Now I know. It's important to talk to other people. Friends have greater meaning than I thought. You can talk to them about anything. I finally realized that. After I asked Takano for help, should I also talk to Kechi? I told him before in my previous lives, but he never believed me then. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the two of us. You and I, chat. You and I. Alright, let's read this. The two of us. Rika Furude always thought there are four members in her family. She could clearly see all of us. Her father, her mother, and me. She had no idea that I was invisible to anyone else but her. My appearance is a little different from human beings. I may otherwise look like a person, but I can't hide my horns. So it's obvious that I'm not human. I'd hoped that because Rika had seen me since she was a baby, she wouldn't be bothered by my ugly horns at all. Oh, those fucking ugly horns. And the hope came true. Just as chicks believe whatever they see first as their parent, Rika accepted me as a part of her family as a matter of course, even though I have these horns. Rika and I have been close ever since the day she accepted me as her family member. I became closer to her than her parents. I couldn't even remember the last time I was able to communicate with someone. We spent all day together. But her family, especially her mother, denied my existence. Since her mother so strongly denied me, Rika and her mother became distant. Rika didn't learn certain things that many children learn from their mothers. That's why I taught her instead. It's kind of ironic how that made her mother resent Rika even more. Rika used to fight with her mother a lot about how she talked. I guess she picked up some bad habits from me. Besides the fact that she didn't get along with her mother, Rika was a pretty normal girl. She was just like Satoko. She loved running around the woods and doing mischievous things. However, in June 1983, Rika's life was taken. All we want is a happy life for Rika. My power only allows us to search for the path leading to that. It's awful to repeat the same tragedy over and over again. Although it's devastating, we can still find happiness within this endless world. Rika Furude's destiny is a tragic dead end, but I'm secretly enjoying the fact that I get to spend more time with her than what normal people can enjoy. It's not just Rika. They may not see or hear me, but being with Satoko, Mion, Rina, and Kechi is also very fun. I can never be one of them, but I can still be by their side. Alright, so quite the setup for what's gonna be next. So we see Rika. She's accomplishing. She's seeing the path forward, sort of. She's seeing that her friends are able to learn from their past cycle mistakes. And she's like, God, maybe there's hope for me yet. And as we see there at the end of the chapter, basically, she's coming to the conclusion that three important key players in potentially protecting herself is Takano, Tomatake, and Irie. I think she also specified, maybe most importantly, Takano and Irie. But she definitely let us know that she hates this because she clearly does not like Irie, which is funny. And then she also admits Takano's fucking crazy, which, again, funny. But yeah, I assume we're setting up for, obviously, next stream of this, probably she's going to approach Irie. But we start to see a clearer picture. If it wasn't probably meant to be 100% clearer before, and I'm just now, finally putting it all together and everything. Rika, and I think I've mentioned it even before, but Rika, I've said it like, oh, she just wants to spend time with her friends, but the actual crux of the matter is that she doesn't want to get murdered. So it's clear, if it wasn't already clear before, through, and I'm, maybe I'm a little slow on at this actual point, but she just wants to avoid being murdered, being dead, being died. So, yeah. Do I think she can accomplish that? Tough. The bittersweet ending would be like, somehow, like, we're seeing everyone else, like, the super bittersweet ending to this whole thing, this whole journey, would be if, like, Rika's death or Rika's murder or however, it's already, dude, it's already kind of late, so I don't want to go on a huge tangent here, but now my mind's starting to think, she's like, God, who kills me? Who wants to kill me? There's no one I can do it. Sonozaki family doesn't want to kill me. Other friends don't want to kill me. The people in the village love me. She's like, I don't understand who would murder me. And, like, the bittersweet ending that, like, that is now, like, bubbling in my head is, like, twofold. One, like, it's some thing that kills Rika that's not able to be stopped like that. It's not, like, a murder, And two is that Rika dying is not something that can be changed. It might just be, we talk about, like, this whole thing is all about, like, oh, what are the mistakes people made and what have they learned and what do they change and what do they not repeat to make those mistakes happen again. All these people around Rika. But the bittersweet thing would be if everyone else around her changes and corrects the mistakes for the good, for their lives and everyone around them. But Rika and her situation is unable to be changed. It is something set in stone as far as fate goes. That would be upsetting. That would be the sad thing. It would be very sad for her to now, after so many attempts of trying and seeing everyone else around her able to better their lives, if this one thing she wants is still and forever out of her grasp. Well, on that somber note, we'll end the stream here. I think I should be good to go for Higurashi Saturday night. If something pops up, I apologize. But we'll see. We should see. I'll hopefully see. If something does pop up, it doesn't necessarily help the exclusive Higurashi viewers, but hopefully, obviously, on like Wednesdays or Friday stream, I'd be able to say, something popped up on Saturday for us not to be able to do Higurashi Saturday reading. But speaking of, should be good to go for a Wednesday and Friday stream to close out the week here, for sure. Tomorrow, we're probably going to check out a second stream of Yar's Rising. And also before that, I think there's a small little one-off, I think probably like half an hour thing that I kind of want to check out. So we'll do that tomorrow. Friday, not 100% sure what we'll check out. kind of dictate how far we get into Yars Rising and stuff like that. But this was a nice stream. Nice Higurashi Tuesday stream for sure, in my opinion. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed listening. I hope you have a nice rest of your night or day or whatever it is you're watching or listening to this. Have a great Wednesday as well. Have a great rest of your week. Yada yada. And I'll be back tomorrow night. So until then.